Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew Built Conicals. You can trust Brew Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew Built at morebeer.com.
Home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, beer drinkers.
Get ready for an all-new experience in information exchange and beer culture.
Your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers from around the globe
right to your home.
You're not just listening to broadcasters, it's the Brewcasters
on the Brewing Network.
Drinking Vinnie's beer already. We couldn't help ourselves. We have so much beer in the studio today, it's worse than the drunk show.
I like the 3-liter bottle over there.
Yeah, we got a giant 3-liter bottle of Damnation that Vinnie brought us. We're not supposed to drink it till there's a special occasion.
June.
yeah. Like, I don't know, Sunday night. It's a special occasion, right?
Yeah. I had to change my microphone plug. It was going out.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You're quick,
that.
Doc.
Hey, you know.
Good work.
Sharp.
Welcome back to the studio, Vinnie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me for the second time.
Yeah, that's right. We love having you. Lots to talk about you coming back in here, you know.
Yeah, it's been a busy few months, and since I've been here last, and last time I was here, it was Dave Keene's 50th birthday. Dave Keene owns a Tornado.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You had to leave out of here.
Jet out to his party to see the Dragons play.
Yeah.
And we drank ourselves silly that night. A Blind Pig IPA.
Good work.
Yeah. And the next year is even crazier.
That's fun.
Could be bigger next year? Bigger, badder?
Bigger, I don't know about, just busier.
Yeah.
I've taken on Brewers Association, the American Home Brewers Association. Their parent organization is the Brewers Association.
Yeah.
And now they just merged with the Small Brewers Association of America.
That's right.
And I've been elected to the board of directors of that. So now I have all this other traveling to do aside from
your
normal stuff. Yeah. But it's cool because I'm going to be, you know, rubbing elbows with the like of Kim Jordan, who owns New Belgium, and Kim Grossman, who owns Sierra Nevada, and Steve Hindy of Brooklyn Brewery, and all these people who I have so much respect for from the business side of the beer business.
The who's who in microbrew up there.
It's going to be very cool.
That sounds awesome.
And a huge learning experience, and hopefully I can contribute.
I kind of want to give you like a recorder and a microphone just to carry around with you for us, you know? Talk to these people.
Yeah.
Record your private conversations. We'll do a private conversations with Vinnie show.
Fly on the wall.
Yeah. It'd be a good show. People would love to hear that stuff.
Can I just stand here for a while?
You didn't listen to last week's show, did you, Vinnie?
I didn't listen, no.
It's a good thing.
No.
For those of you who did listen, Crazy Jackson in with us today, called in last week, said he was going to come in. And he brought the Vinnie puppet with him. I know we told you we were going to have the Vinnie puppet last week, and we do. And we'll introduce the Vinnie puppet to you later on, Vinnie. But he made a brief appearance last week when Sean O'Sullivan and Roger and Aaron were all in here. And we're excited about you coming in, and everyone, you know, just kind of had a good time with it.
Yeah, I bet those two did.
You might want to go back to the archive and introduce yourself to the Vinnie puppet.
Were they throwing me under the bus?
No.
They well,
won't admit to it.
I'd say if anybody was throwing you under the bus, it was the Vinnie puppet.
Oh.
The Vinnie puppet definitely threw you under the bus. But we'll get some. We didn't get a camera up so that you guys at home could see the Vinnie puppet, but we're taking all kinds of pictures. Danielle has already taken a bunch, and I will get them posted. I'll get them posted tonight after the show. That's a promise. I know I don't always update the gallery, but I'll put the Vinnie puppet up tonight because I think it's worth it. And the resemblance is uncanny, by the way. I just want to point out that the orange-haired, green-skinned puppet. It's uncanny.
just like him.
That's the hops, the green skin.
The Vinnie puppet is introducing himself.
I actually had pink hair last year for October. It was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a little promotion we do every year at the brew pub, and all of our employees go pink, and I went hot pink.
That's great. Yeah. I actually think I saw some of those pictures on your website.
I think they're on our website.
That's a really cool thing to do.
Me getting my hair dyed.
And then do you guys go do the walk too?
My wife's done the walk a couple times. Natalie, my wife and business partner, has done the walk a couple times. And one of the cool things that that's happened, the people we've met through the breast cancer walk and become good customers is Jack Blades. He's from Night Ranger.
Okay.
His wife walked with Natalie.
No kidding.
And
maybe I should play some Night Ranger
little
later
Sister
in
Christian,
the show.
Yeah. We had the whole Night Ranger crew in the brewery 2 days ago. And along with Alice Cooper's drummer was in.
No kidding.
All these who's of 80s rock.
Absolutely.
And,
they're hanging out at Russian River.
They're hanging out at Russian River, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
It must be the pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Not that the beer's not good. All right. Well, we got some business to take care of, and of course, we'll be talking to Vinnie today all about hop growing and growing your own hops at home. This man has like a whole field of them in the back of his brewery or something, don't you?
It used to be at the back of the brewery. Now we grow them with Moonlight.
Oh, you do?
With
okay.
Brian. Yeah, I'll tell that whole story and how that came to be.
Sounds good. And so get your questions ready for growing hops. I know I have some. I did okay this year, but
better than I did.
But still got some questions. I'm curious how they're going to come back next year. So we'll talk all about that. I want to give a quick thanks. I mentioned it last week. I want to do it again. Check out brewmonkey.com. It's brew-monkey.com. And these are the guys, Chris and his wife Mara. They really helped us out with the website. They do great work. And their website is a great service to the brew community too. All the news that's on our front page comes from Brew Monkey. And he's got a whole archive of news. It really is. It's pretty intensive. You can go back and check through all sorts of articles and archives there. He's got brewing articles up there, gadget articles, all sorts of stuff, and a great forum. So check out brew-monkey.com. Really good people, good site, and they helped us out a lot. I just want to say thanks again.
I'm doing an interview with them. I've got something I need to type out for them.
Nice.
I think they've got a whole series of brewers.
They do.
Interviews. I think Matt Brenelson was the first. And
I think you're right.
It's
yeah.
been in my email box for several months, but I'll get to it one of these days.
You can check that out on their web. He's real efficient about that, the way he does it, because that's what he does. He sends brewers, so they can do it on their own time. Just kind of an email list of questions.
Yeah.
And then you'll send it back to him, and he might fire a couple follow-ups to you.
Yeah.
And then he ends up posting the entire interview on his website, which is a real cool feature. I know the one with Matt. I've read through some of that.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right, Vinnie soon to come on brewmonkey.com. So brew-monkey.com. Just check it out. It's a good site. It's a lot of fun over there. All right, how about some feedback I got this week?
Good, bad.
We got to go to the... do I usually do that? I can't remember. I'm going brain dead about whether or not I do the
email
feedback first or the news.
Think of the
first.
intro song.
Maybe first of all, you want to say hi to me.
Oh, there you go.
I live with you. What do I care? How are you today, Daniela?
I'm great.
And how's the chat room looking over there?
The chat room is looking just fine. Everybody is pretty excited that Vinnie and the Vinnie Puppet is here.
They were looking. The chat room was looking for you even this morning during the Blues show, and they were real excited about the Vinnie Puppet coming in already.
I'm being molested by Vinnie right here. By the puppet.
By the
Vinnie Puppet.
Yeah. Easy.
Right.
We're going to have to make sure we get it right. So, now don't worry, Vinnie Puppet, you're going to get your time on the mic, buddy. You just hang in there. He's excited. He's crazier than Crazy Jack. I'll tell you that right now. All right, a couple of questions that we got in from the mailbox this week. One of them's a real good one, and it's about a tip that Jameel gave a few months back. I think it might have been his first appearance on the show, actually. And by the way, Jameel and John, you guys are having your first show tomorrow.
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
10 a.m.
That's early.
Yeah. You ready for that thing or what?
We're going to talk Imperial Stouts.
Okay. Tomorrow's the Imperial Stout show? Jameel got it all worked out?
Yeah, he came over and told me what he was going to do, and I said, uh-huh.
Guy's a scientist. He had it ready.
Yeah, he did.
All right, so the first Jameel show, it's on tomorrow. Anyway, this question refers to the first time he was on. Guy says, hey, I just wanted to email you and say thanks for putting up the old broadcasts on the net. Very seldom get to listen live, but I download the broadcast and listen at work all the time. Sure does make my day go by a lot better, although it does make me thirsty. He goes on to say, I really enjoy the people you have both on the show and the guests. So I guess that means people like you, John.
They like it. Us? That's nice.
I just listened to the first show with Jameel and heard him mention that he adds hops in the last 10 minutes of the boil to get a smooth bitterness. Maybe this has been covered already, but I was wondering if I brewed a beer and only added hops in the last 10 minutes, wouldn't that give the beer too much aroma for a certain beer style, like, say, a mild brown ale? Or is the 10-minute hop addition just for certain styles? And it goes on to say, thanks if you can give me an answer. I know that Jameel already gave him an email answer, but I wanted to read this one because it's a great question about that topic. We kind of went over it pretty quick. Jameel got it just from a guy that he tasted the beer from at a festival, and he said, how on earth did you get a smooth bitterness like that? And the guy gave him his process was basically just to add all the hops in the last 10 minutes of the boil. So none of this 1 hour bittering hop. He just doubled up the amount of it, or tripled it, or whatever he had to do to reach the same alpha acid and the same efficiency of the hops, but he did it all in the last 10 minutes. So the answer to the question that Jameel gave back, and he did mention it on that show a bit too, it is only for extremely hoppy beers that you want to do that for, because you are adding a ton of hops and you're going to get a lot of aroma out of it. So your IPAs, your double IPAs, things like that, you're going to do that late hop addition, and what it does is just, it gives you all that hoppiness of putting in for, say, a 1 hour boil, but it really smooths it out because you're not cooking it for an hour. You're just doubling up the amount or whatever you got to do. And you can pro mash that too, by the way. If you're going for a certain amount of IBUs, punch in a pro mash that you're going to put all the hops in the last 10 minutes, and it'll tell you how much to put in. You'd be surprised what it says. It'll end up, you're used to putting in an ounce or whatever. It's going to tell you to put in
half a pound,
quarter pound, whatever, man.
Quarter pound of hops.
But it is only for hoppy beer, so I would suggest referring back to that show if you want to hear more about that process. If you got any questions, send them in. We got a lot to get to, so I don't want to go over the whole thing. But just to answer the question, it is definitely for hoppy beers. You don't want to do it for your light ones like that mild brown you're talking about. All right. Somebody else sent me in another beer song. I wasn't able to get the format, but the rest of their email, I love it, man. Our listeners are always sending me cool sound files. I got some good blues music for the show today, and I think all of the beer songs that we play are, I didn't find any of them. They're all from listeners. They send them in the funny beer stuff that we do. What are you looking at me like that for, Doc? You all right over there?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
What he wants to know, he says, how about just giving me that kegging system you guys are giving away? I'm a poor, drunken college student, and I work at UPS.
Get a job.
I did say that I wanted some sob stories to come in, and I've already started to compile them. I'm not going to read them. That's not how I'm going to give it away this week. But I said last week, I mentioned I wanted, to give it away to, like, some person living in a trailer or something. I want the saddest stories I can get.
Yep.
I don't know that that's going to be the final criteria for giving it away, but I do encourage you to send in me your sob stories. I got one from a guy who he's talking about his pregnant wife and can't afford the keg system.
Yeah, I got that email too.
Well, why don't you just make it the saddest story as a qualifier? Not necessarily the winner.
I'm going to. One of these, I think probably the final week, I'll do the saddest story as one of the qualifiers. So I'm now compiling stories. This is one of them, the poor drunken college student that works at UPS. John can sympathize with you about that. He worked at UPS for a while.
Yeah. 1,500 packages in 4 hours. Ow. That'll hurt your back.
So send me your sob stories. You'll be qualified, I think, probably in the final week. And what we'll do is I'll probably weed through the first bunch of them, and then we'll do an on-air vote.
You're going to get a bunch of drunk people lying to you.
I like that. That's all right. I'm okay with that. What he does want everybody to know, he says, by the way, no one I know at UPS really gives a shit about shipping beer or what's in the packages. I haven't heard of any rules about shipping alcohol either. So I know everybody's always asking on the forums how they ship beer to us, how do they ship beer to each other. Don't worry about it. Nobody cares.
In quantity.
Well,
that's how you ship it to us.
Yeah, that's right.
There's some guy getting paid $8.50 an hour loading up these freight trucks, and what do they care?
They're checking nothing.
Nothing. They're throwing them is what they're doing.
Anthrax are a little worried about. Beer, they don't care.
Yeah.
You're fine with that. So don't worry about shipping your beer. Everyone says it's fine. Just put a little just wrap it properly. That's the important thing. Don't let the stuff break.
Yeah.
You got to soften it up in there. But other than that, no one's going to take it. And then finally, a little positive feedback about last week's show came in.
Finally.
Got some.
Says, yesterday I was in the grocery store listening to the first show of 2006. I was enjoying the discussion while trying to choose which pretzels to buy, honey mustard or pumpernickel and onion. When suddenly, out of nowhere, the Vinnie puppet reared its ugly little head. He says, I was laughing so hard I was crying and saw more than one person in the shop stop to look at me crying over the pretzels. I got the Vinnie puppet right in front of me here, too.
Was he listening to the show?
He was listening to the show through his MP3 player at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And the Vinnie puppet
great.
pops in there and he just starts cracking up. Anyway, he goes on to just say thanks for everything. You guys do a good job. And,
It's probably Crazy Jack.
He says at the end, when I first learned about the Brewing Network via a postcard, I thought it was a silly idea, but you guys have proved me very, very wrong. Cheers. And that's from Dan Mann.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool. People have been giving us a lot more positive stuff than negative stuff lately.
I've read a lot of stories about people listening in their MP3s and
Yeah.
in their pods and just laughing out of the middle of nowhere and people just staring at them.
The wives looking at him like, what the hell are you doing?
I love that. That's my favorite feedback, just to find out that people are cracking up out there.
Did you get a lot of negative feedback for a while?
Yeah.
We only got a couple.
Criticism.
We
A lot
only
of
got
criticism.
a couple that would be considered hate mail. But we did definitely get some feedback about how things were running. I mean, we were just starting up and we had some technical issues and things like that. But more and more, it's more that people write in now and they say things like, show was okay before, but now you guys are doing a great job, sort of thing. So we get that. It actually bums me out that we don't get more hate mail. I enjoy hate mail. It's a lot of fun for me.
Off of that.
It bothers me that we don't get more.
You're strange that way.
I thought of writing my own hate mail to us today.
You know what?
Something to do.
I'm gonna feed you with some hate mail, no
Good.
problem.
I'm sure you will.
It comes from the heart.
It really does.
I get like 3 or 6 emails a week about questions from when I was on before.
Is that right?
Constantly.
Just people still
Always.
asking questions?
Yep. Yeah.
Does that bother you, or is it cool?
No, actually, a bunch of them send me Pliny clones too.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And how's that been going for you?
Travis, our assistant brewer, he and I tasted the best one yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to say who it's from? Do you remember?
The first name is Alejandro. Can't remember the last name.
Okay.
So,
well, if you're
it
listening.
it was pretty good though.
Really?
Yeah.
Close or just good?
It was good.
Okay.
It was really good.
All
It was the closest I've ever had.
Okay.
So.
And did he say whether he did extract or all grain?
I believe it was all grain.
It was all grain?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's
So-
cool. I like to hear
But
that.
he started out as a Brewing Network question, I think, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Wow.
Gotcha. I know we gave out the recipe that show and everything, so
Nice
people,
job.
That is great.
That's cool. Hey, we got beer sent to you, man. That's
Hell
a good thing,
yeah.
Vinny.
Free beer.
Tell your friends just for that. You know? All right. That's always good fun.
Oh my god!
You've got mail.
Kick ass.
I did it again. I'm playing the mail segment for the news.
You did that like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I do that all the time. That's why I was getting all confused at the
Well, that's what I
beginning.
told you. Just think of the songs for your
Yeah.
intro songs that you
I
got to
know.
play, and that'll get you on the right.
And I looked at it and I read it, but for some reason it says mail on it, and I don't know. Whatever. I thought news.
It's a good song.
M-A-L-E.
I'll keep it on for the news. I don't care.
Yeah. There you go.
It's Doc's favorite.
Oh, yeah. The
stuff,
banjo.
so he likes it. Few new. Actually, there's a lot of news stories today. I had to weed through them. Sometimes weeks are dead, but this week there's a bunch of good stuff going on, so I had to narrow it down. You guys know about the city in Ohio called Westerville?
No.
Westerville is known as like the dry capital of the world. It's been dry for 131 years. But not anymore. The central Ohio city of Westerville, once known as the dry capital of the world, is dry no more. A pizza parlor on Thursday became the first establishment in Westerville's uptown business district to legally serve beer since 1875. Here's to a new tradition in Westerville, local jeweler Bill Morgan said as he raised his plastic cup of Budweiser at Michael's Pizza. Now they gotta start slow, right?
Yeah.
Westerville's temperance history dates back to 131 years when the town saloon was blown up during what was known as the Whiskey Wars. The Anti-Saloon League moved its headquarters to Westerville in 1909, and the city became known as the dry capital of the world. Business and city leaders pushed for serving alcohol in uptown establishments as a way to compete with the restaurants and bars at 2 new retail developments near the Columbus suburb. Voters on November 8th approved licenses for beer and wine to be sold at Michael's Pizza and Pasquale's Pizza and Pasta. Is that all they serve is pizza at Old Westerville? The owner plans to start serving libations February 1st. So, it's
That's
good to
an
hear.
accomplishment.
It still blows me away that there's dry counties at all.
Oh, yeah. They're out there.
They are. I was in one once. Man, that was tough. That was a hard
Jack
time.
Daniels is made in a dry county.
Yeah, that's right. I know that story.
Oh, no.
Where was I? I was in Arkansas. I went rafting somewhere in Arkansas. And we had to, we didn't smuggle, you just drive in, it's fine. You just can't buy it in these counties. We brought our beer in, but we had run out by the end of the rafting trip and we were still having a picnic. And I was like, well, let's just go to the store and get some beer. And you can't. You can't do it. You gotta drive to the next county.
And my sister lived in Dallas, or just outside of Dallas for a while. Okay, let's go to the store and get some beers. And we're driving. Where the hell are we going? Oh, we gotta go outside the county.
Yeah.
And it was the busiest store in the world, right outside the big-ass liquor store.
A line of beer.
Oh, it was just huge. And it was full of people.
Yeah.
Just cars everywhere. And just...
I would say that the counties around the dry counties absolutely love the law.
Oh, yeah.
Because they got, like, liquor business is huge in those counties.
It was right over the line, and you could tell.
Yeah. I got another one, some new rights for beer pouring. This is from New Delhi in India. A court has lifted another lifestyle taboo in India by allowing women to serve liquor in bars. The Delhi High Court yesterday ruled that Section 30 of the Punjab I'm probably reading that wrong, but whatever.
Punjab?
Did you say what? Punjab. Excise Act of 1914 prevented women from working in bars was outdated. It's undeniable that women have excelled in the hospitality industry, not only in this country, but worldwide. And the feminine touch indeed lends grace and elegance to the industry, said the judgment given by divisional bench justices. I'm not going to try to read their names. A hotel owner pleaded that the ban was unconstitutional as it violated the basic right of women to choose their profession. The petitioners noted that the government was encouraging the liquor trade by extending opening times of state liquor shops. And they pushed for the new government to allow the same rights to women as they were to men as far as the hospitality industry is concerned. So new rights there in India going on too, where women can now serve beer. Lucky them. I can tell you right now, it's a shitty job, so don't celebrate too bad. They didn't do you any big favors. You guys want to hear a big announcement?
Our bartenders make more than we do, though.
Yeah. They do.
Oh, yeah, tips.
Yeah, bartenders can do okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it a good job.
Male or female.
Yeah. But a little more on the female side, I'll tell you that right now. Especially in serving, too, not just bartending.
Damn it.
Big announcement, I quit my job yesterday.
Which one?
The bartending job.
Well done.
Serving job and all that junk. Yep.
Yeah. So you don't have to say, you want fries with that?
Yeah, when listeners come in and say, hey, don't you do that radio show? I don't have to say yes. Can I get you a salad?
A salad with that?
I'm out of there. I told them things are going real well with my company at home, and I need more time to make it happen, or it's going to fall apart. And I quit.
Well, I'm proud of you, Jay.
What does that mean for me?
It means I'm sending in my welfare check, and you're now paying all the bills.
You don't even qualify for welfare, do you?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think you qualify if you quit. I think you have to. I can't even get unemployment or anything.
We're going to find you on the street corner playing acoustic guitar.
Yeah, it's going to be me. You know what? It'll make me happier than serving people, I'll tell you that. Even if I stink.
You should do that.
Yeah, I might.
We're in your Brewing Network shirt.
So, we better start making some money in here, fellas.
Really?
I just quit my job.
Okay.
I even told my boss, I said, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here because I need more time for the company. It's going really well. On the other hand, I've not made a penny yet, not one penny. In fact, it's all in the negative numbers, but it's a risk I gotta take.
Well, we have another 2 years to go before we make money, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that about right? Is that about right, Vinnie?
Right, Vinnie?
Yes.
You might have told me that on Thursday before I quit on Friday.
I had to wait, man. I'm sorry.
All right.
We still don't cash our paychecks, Natalie and I, like on payday, like all the other employees. We wait till all of theirs clear, and then a week later, and then sometimes it's like, oh crap, it's rent check or State Board of Equalization, and
Well, luckily
they eventually get in the bank, but
we don't have a payroll, luckily, so I don't know if I got to worry about that. Like for example, I'm never cutting you a check, John.
I'm not signing it.
Right. All right, that's it for the news. I had some other stuff here, but I think we got to get moving. Time's running short. Our tasting today is going to be Chimay. Chimay. Which one are we tasting, John?
The red label.
Good.
I saw the argument in the forum whether it was a brown label or a red label or
Reddish brown.
I'm slightly colorblind.
You posted brown?
Yeah, I did.
But it's actually red?
It looks brown.
It's called the red label.
It's red. They do red, white, and blue.
What are the differences, basically?
Red is, they're double at 7%.
Okay.
The white is roughly a triple at 8%.
Gotcha.
And the blue would be a strong dark ale at 9%.
Oh, okay. So
you guys actually picked the right person to have in here for a Chimay tasting, because Natalie and I have actually stayed at the monastery at Chimay.
I think we talked about that. That's right.
Yeah.
We're not too stupid, Vinny. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So did you do it?
I think we asked him that.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
So that's what our neighbor asked us when she picked us up.
Yeah. You guys didn't do it, though,
did you?
did you?
No.
Did they put you in the quiet room?
The quiet room.
We have a monk who is now a forum member.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I did.
He's a Trappist monk.
Yep.
I don't know where the monastery is.
No, he's not Trappist monk. He's
not?
Cistercian, maybe?
Yeah, you're right. That's what it was.
But yeah, he's in Indiana, I think. Something like that.
That just sounds weird to me, monks in Indiana, you know?
That doesn't sound right.
Sounds like dudes with beer bellies drinking is what it sounds like to me.
They never get out of their robes.
Yeah, they don't have like the traditional robes. They're like their bathrobes, you know, the big fluffy ones.
So a hood on it.
I'd like to have him call in. I want to know what goes on. If you happen to be listening, I think he probably listens via podcast. I don't know, can monks use iPods and things like that?
Yeah, because they got to use the earphones.
Yeah. You're right.
Can't laugh out loud.
It's got to be quiet. Yeah, what if we make him laugh? Right now he's getting angry. He's not allowed to say anything. No.
There's a monastery going to start brewing in New Mexico. They have a
is
secular,
that right?
Yeah, they have a secular brewer.
Okay.
Doing the brewing for him, but it is a monastery doing brewing.
Okay.
The beer writer Stan Hieronymus lives in New Mexico, so he's always updating me on what's going on.
Nice.
So Stan does a lot of the writing for realbeer.com and
I don't know a lot about monks. Did I say something totally stupid asking a monk to call in and talk to us? Monks don't talk, do they?
No, it depends on what monastery they're in.
You can go in the chat room.
Some are not allowed to talk, yeah, certainly, but most of
like
them are.
Ever? Some of them are never allowed to talk?
That's the Trappist order is like that.
But I thought they could go into one room where they could talk.
Yeah, that's
themselves.
The quiet room, yeah.
Yeah, they
sounds like hell.
Father Thomas would take Natalie and I into the quiet room and
he was allowed to talk to you.
Yeah.
Talk a lot. Talk. Well, you could always just go into the chat room.
Don't they fast while drinking? Don't they just drink for like 30 days or something? Or is that the German or? I don't know. No, there's no fasting or drinking. Okay.
Yeah, there is.
Well, I mean,
not all monks, but there's Daniela, what's that deal where they can only drink beer for like 30 days?
Yeah, this is the time between. I don't know what that is called in English, but the time right before they killed Jesus or Christ.
Lent.
Okay, thank you. And this is when you're not supposed to eat, right? You're not supposed to have anything that's good, no pleasure at all. Just beer, because they needed something to, survive the 30 days. Or maybe the time period is even longer than 30 days. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, it's 30 days and 30 nights, just like Jesus went and did in the desert.
But what it turned into now in Germany, especially in Bavaria, is those awful huge festivals where people just drink the heavy beer and don't even think about the religion anymore.
Little do they know that beer brings pleasure to all of us.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, if you only drink beer for 30 days, you should be a monk.
Yeah, I should be a monk. I should be a monk. And I should probably, for my own sacrifice, be a monk that's not allowed to talk.
That would be great.
Oh, that would be punishment.
Can you imagine that? Not allowed to say anything?
I would love to see that.
The Vinnie puppet's looking drunk over there already. Yeah. I think he's been dipping into the style.
Jonathan's been looking at me wondering what this last beer I just poured was.
It is sour.
Yeah, it's sour. That's our new barrel beer, Beatification, that will be bottled in about 2 months.
Why is it named that?
It's just another shun word that crossed my head. When I had to name it, the Pope had just passed away, and you go through beatification and then canonization. That's what popes do.
Oh, right.
And
sainthood.
So, but yeah, this is the sourest beer we'll have made to this point. And these are used La Folie barrels from the Belgian Brewing Company that Peter Buchart sent me. And we put Redemption in there, which was the beer we were drinking first.
Right.
And just let it sit, and all the sourness and bacteria and wildness has all been from what was in the wood to begin with, which I think is like 12 microorganisms.
Okay.
And Lauren Salazar, who kind of is oversees the whole barrel project and all the sour beers at New Belgium. She was at our brewery several months ago visiting Natalie and I. She was at a class at Davis or something. And I told her we had a couple La Folie barrels, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And we tasted the beer on the beer, and she liked what it tasted like. This was 6 months ago, and she says, "Can I see the barrels?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I took her into the barrel room, and she looked at the one barrel, and I thought she was going to cry. Yeah. She goes, "Oh my God, that's where PH1 went." Like the barrels are labeled.
Right.
And PH1 was the best La Folie barrel they've ever had. Okay. And she couldn't believe that Peter gave it away to me.
There.
And she was so happy to see it though. And she's like, "Oh, at least it's in good hands now. And I know that it's still making beer and it didn't get cut into a garden planter or something."
Right. That's awesome.
So this beer is made from used La Folie barrels, PH1.
It's sour. It's sour.
Yeah.
I wonder if you think that
and this is just a barrel sample, no carbonation or anything.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Salivation.
Yeah.
I like it as it warms up.
I didn't even try that yet.
Yeah.
I got to take a quick break, so I'll pour myself some here.
There's some right there that...
Take a real quick break. I think it's just a one-song
sour.
we're going to do. When we come back, I'm going to give you the rules for this week for registering to get the full kegging system courtesy of Northern Brewer at northernbrewer.com. They are our official sponsor of the Brewing Network this month, and I've been nice enough to give you guys, one of you lucky guys, a full kegging system. So last week we had some crazy ways to register to do it. This week it's even better, kids. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'll tell you how to do it right when we come back. Vinnie Cilurzo from Russian River Brewing Company, he's in here with us again. We're going to be talking hops. We got our Chimay tasting coming up at 6 o'clock. We got a listener tasting to do today. And we got John's beer to taste also. We got the Vinnie puppet in the studio. It's a long night, kids. Yeah. We'll be right back. It's the Brewing Network.
Coming in January, the Brewing Network is proud to present the Beer Style Show. Hosted by the most award-winning homebrewer ever, Jamil Zainasheff. Each show will give you the best in understanding BJCP style guidelines.
You gotta honestly look at it, try it, and evaluate it and say, no, it's actually, a better beer in this style. And that's, again, goes to, understand the BJCP style guide.
Competition advice.
One of the things in competition that you have to do is you have to brew a good beer, a really good beer. So the bigger the competition, the better beer you have to brew as a base.
Experienced homebrew tips.
One of the things about process, a lot of these beers, mash temp is a difference of just a few degrees one way or another, but it makes, a dramatically different beer.
The science behind the process.
What you want to pitch is 1 million cells per milliliter of wort per degree Plato.
And Brewcaster John co-hosting is sure to keep Jamil on his toes.
Because I believe that you need temperatures to help grow you.
I think John, you could make even better beer.
It's on, Jamil.
The Beer Style Show with Jamil Zainasheff and John Plissé. Coming to the Brewing Network in 2006. Stay tuned to www.thebrewingnetwork.com for details. And now back to the Brewcasters. The Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Vinnie Cilurzo from Russian River Brewing Company is in the studio with us today, along with the Vinnie puppet. Yet to be introduced to the microphone for the week. We're waiting for him to get good and liquored up. He's drinking right now.
Why is the Vinnie puppet's jacket multicolored?
Multicolored.
You mean rainbow-colored Vinnie?
Rainbow, yeah.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
That was Justin's request.
Yeah, I requested that. I figured you guys are a pretty liberal brewery over there. I thought you might want to support a little pride. I don't know.
We do, actually.
All right.
We have a large clientele of the gay community.
All right.
And, we went to this really cool bar in Pengrove the other night called the Black Cat.
Oh, yeah?
And it's known as a local lesbian bar. And our friends Holiday, it's a band from San Diego, played there. And cool little spot.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice.
I think every bar in restaurant in Sonoma County
is cool.
Has some sort of, gay community that hangs out there because it's such a big part of the community, much like San Francisco would be.
Yeah, I think so. Well. It's like the hippie gay community out there.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah. When you drive into Sebastopol, which is the ultimate hippie town, Sonoma County, it says we are a nuclear-free zone.
Yeah.
And then right when Natalie and I moved to Sonoma County, we were reading the letters to the editor in the Press Democrat, and one of the postal carriers for Sebastopol writes in and says, I'm sure glad the city council of Sebastopol also made this a landmine-free zone because I can do my job a lot more safely now and feel better about it.
Right.
And Natalie and I sat and we were like, what the hell did we get ourselves into? Yeah. This was about a week into Sonoma County, and we were looking to live in Sebastopol, and we're like, they're a little too hippie for us.
Yeah.
So
nice.
They'd probably throw eggs in my Toyota pickup.
All right, I got to do announcements real quick. We got to announce how you guys can win the full kegging system courtesy of Northern Brewer at northernbrewer.com. Last week we did some call-ins. We made you sing the beer song, our ending song. Pale Ale is a friend of mine.
That was fun.
This week, I got a couple other ideas.
Uh-oh.
I invented a new game this week, and it was after listening to the Drake show. I was reminded of a bit I was supposed to do where I recorded Doc's vocals at the beginning of an archive and cut them out, and then Doc's speech at the end of an archive. And listening to the Drakes back from 710 reminded me of that. So the new game is called Guess What Doc is Saying. And I'm going to play the clip for you probably before the end of this segment. And first person to call in and tell us what the hell Doc is saying is our first registrant to register to win this.
I was reading on the forum how I just ran across the one that compares us to South Park.
Okay.
And they said that I was Kenny because they can't understand me.
I think that there should be, when we do it, there should be two criteria. One should be the most accurate, and the other one should be the most creative interpretation of what Doc is saying.
Like what you think I said.
And then maybe have a vote on who gets it. You know what I'm saying? We'll figure that out. But I'll play the clip. You guys are going to think it's funny. And I think it's going to end up being a regular segment on the show here. Guess what Doc is saying. It's going to be a
little 5-minute spot. There you go.
Kind of a regular thing. So that's how we're going to register the first one. The second person is going to register with answering a trivia question, and that's going to be via the chat room, because it's the only way we can get the chat registered. We got to do that. Daniela will type the question into the chat room, and then the first person to get the answer and put it in, type it back to her, will register. And then the third one, I announced last week how we're going to do this one. We're going to have the Drunk of the Week be our third registrant. So Drunk of the Week, and that'll be the last one. It's got to have to be toward the end of the show.
That's a phone call? Or?
We'll take a few calls, and then we'll vote on who the Drunk of the Week is. And, you got to call in, you got to slur a little,
Or a lot.
or a lot in Doc's case. And,
hey, it's only when you ask me questions.
And we'll figure out who the Drunk of the Week is. And that'll be another recurring segment on the show, because I just think it's funny. So there you go. And that's how we're going to register the people today. All right?
I vote for you, Justin.
Thank you. So guess Doc, then there'll be a trivia question for the chat room. Hang around in there. Hit the chat now button on our main page if you're not there yet. And then the third one will be Drunk of the Week. All right? I want to say real quick that we had a discussion on the forum about how we're registering people to win this thing. And people wanted to be able to register folks that aren't listening, and people were worried about, hey, I can only listen to the archives and podcasts. Why don't I get to register? Well, here's the deal. We're going to be giving away lots of stuff this year, so hang in there, and we're going to accommodate everybody. But we make agreements with our sponsors when we figure out what we're going to do and what they're going to do, and this particular agreement is for live listenership. So we have another one that'll be set up for podcasters and archive listeners, so it'll be kind of a listen, and then you get to come back and win something kind of thing. So we'll get to all of you. Hang in there. We're not discriminating. It's just how the rules go with this one. It's live listenership. I will not be accepting call-ins for friends. You got to call in yourself. It's a first-person contest. I ruled that out in the forum also. So you can check the threads there under Beer Radio. If you have any confusion, I listed the rules. Cool?
Very cool.
Did you guys see the homebrew code of ethics that's forming in the forum?
I love Oz. That was awesome.
Well, I kind of started it last week when we were doing this, competition, when we were doing the rules then, I said, we're going to have to sort of invent the homebrewers code here, and I think part of it is that you don't be a dick. And if you don't need a kegging system, don't try to register.
First rule.
That's the first rule. Don't be a dick. So, Oz from Australia just kind of took it from there, and they've started compiling a list in the forum. Yes, Daniela?
I got a quick question about the kegging system. Mm-hmm. How complete is it?
It is a 5-gallon corny keg, all of the hoses and fittings, a CO2 tank, and a regulator.
That's great.
It's everything you need minus the kegerator. Mm-hmm. So you got to get your own kegerator, which would also include, the tap handle and all that sort of stuff, the tower if you want to have it, whatever. But
it's got everything you need to put it in there.
It might even have the tap fitting. I'm not sure. Would it come with this? It's just a handheld faucet.
You get the picnic faucet. Yeah. Okay. So you can put it in carbonated and dispense it.
Yeah. Right there. So kegerator's your responsibility, but it's a $200 value. The keg system that we're getting here, the CO2 tank, the hoses, the fittings, and the corny keg. Right?
Yes.
Does that cover it, Danielle? Anything else in there?
Man. Perfect.
Having beer on tap, man, saves lives. I'll tell you that.
Throw those bottles away.
Yeah. I think my brother brewed his first batch of beer today.
Oh, yeah?
He's brewing it. I haven't heard from him.
That's good.
Yeah, he got it. You screwed it up, though. You were supposed to send him the IPA recipe, and you sent him that damn, light ale or something.
That comes with the kit from More Beer, so...
But the notes on your sales order said, please upgrade to the IPA.
Well, you're his brother. You should buy him that and send it to him.
I did. I bought it from you.
Well, then
and you sent him the light ale.
Well, it was on me, then.
That's what I'm saying.
So send him the IPA one.
So that's what he's brewing. The Vinnie Puppet is now smacking John in the head.
Crazy Jack.
He screwed up my brother's
Don't
first batch.
Don't piss me off, Crazy Jack.
It's not Jack, it's the puppet, man.
So I'm looking forward to hear how that went. My brother might start doing a food and beer segment for us on the website, and possibly a show, too.
We should have a food segment on our forum.
On the forum?
Yeah.
Could do that.
That's a good idea. That's a huge part of what we're working on and promoting our
beer,
trying to promote food with beer and I think
pairing and cooking.
Pairing and I did a food and beer presentation at GABF last year, and beer dinners, that sort of thing. It's an important part of the industry.
Yeah,
and that's where the wine industry has excelled.
Absolutely.
So strongly.
Everybody knows it about wine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's supposed to be this new thing with beer.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not new. And the one person in the industry that's really propelled it, a couple people, nationally has been Garrett Oliver, the brewmaster at Brooklyn Brewery.
Okay.
But locally, you guys all know who Bruce Patton is? He's the chef at Cathedral Hill Hotel in San Francisco. He does a beer dinner every 6 weeks.
Oh, nice.
And I think his website is beerchef.com. I could have that wrong. But,
I think you're right. I think I've been to that.
But he's an amazing guy doing food and beer pairings. You can find him at Barclays on College, probably most nights hanging out having a beer. That's
really?
his haunt in the East Bay, but works in the city. And we've done, like I said, 4 or 5 dinners with him, and they are all amazing.
Yeah.
We did one last year. It was ourselves, Tommy Arthur from Pizza Port, Rob Todd from Alleygash, and Peter Buchart from New Belgium. So all these guys flew in to my backyard.
Wow.
And we all did this beer dinner. And this year, ours is in September, but they've got a Lagunitas one coming up and a couple others. So
that's a great thing. I want to get in on that, actually.
Yeah, he would actually be a great guest for you guys. You take the show a little bit away from home brewing, because he's not a brewer. But Bruce has an amazing ability of pairing food and beer and never cooking most of these dishes.
Okay.
He just does it on the fly.
Gotcha.
And
does well.
And does amazing job. The best food and beer pairing I've ever had was with Pliny the Elder, which was 2 beer dinners ago, which he told me was the hardest pairing he'd ever done.
Okay.
And it was the richest dish I've ever had. It was blue cheese flan with duck confit.
Wow.
Like this big, rich, fatty dish, and you need, the fat from the duck to cut through the bitterness, and the richness of the blue cheese flan to work through the bitterness of the hops, and but that's what he does.
I'm hungry all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Damn it, Vinnie. You bastard, that sounds awesome.
That's just one of the things that he can do. He's made beer ice cream with Bigfoot.
Okay.
And on and I go on and on stuff he's done.
Daniela, can you check that for us? Beerchef.com, see if that's the website.
Absolutely.
Google it and find the right one, and then we can announce it and post it. And let's try to get him in here, John. That sounds great.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
How does he pair up your Belgians?
Well, this year, his September dinner will be with us, and it's going to be, we've talked about doing this for a couple years now, but we're finally going to do it. It's going to be an entire Shun dinner, an all Belgian beer dinner.
All of them?
Every dish will be Belgian. And not every Shun beer, but
whoa. We have a list here. I was like, wow.
We have a list here in the studio. It's we now have 14 Shun beers. So, most of them will be funky, weird, beers. We're doing a beer dinner with Tommy Arthur from Pizza Port next week in Philadelphia at Monk's Cafe, which is kind of the foremost Belgian beer bar in America.
Okay.
And Tommy and I have each shipped back 4 beers, and the theme is funky, wild, American wild beer with critters. That's the rule.
Gotcha.
For the dinner. So all 8 beers have bacteria, wild yeast, or have been aged in oak barrels.
Nice.
So, yeah, it'll be very cool.
I don't know how you manage to fly around all the time and do what you do, Vinny.
You travel every month, right?
This year I do. This year I'm gone for, I think, 5 to 7 days.
Every month?
Every month, yeah.
I mean, it's great, but it's not an easy thing to do as far as getting it together. And you do all the brewing, or you got a brew guy?
I have an assistant brewer, Travis Smith,
okay.
who this year will take on more of the brewing duties, and we'll be bringing on a third person into the brewery to help out while I'm gone.
Okay.
And one of the cooler trips this year, back in September, before Great American Beer Festival, I started planning Natalie, my wife and business partner's birthday gift, which was going to be a trip to Prague and Belgium for us at the end of May for what's called the Spontaneous Fermented Beer Festival. Every beer at the festival is wild, is fermented with wild yeast.
Okay.
And I lay this thing out. I'm getting help from beer writers over there that I know. And in the middle of getting the trip, and it's a surprise, so I won't give it to Natalie until her birthday, December 6th. And in the middle of this, I get an email from Sam Calagione from Dogfish Head, and he says, "Hey, I'm writing my second book. I need you." He says, I need you, Vinny, Tommy Arthur, Rob Todd from Allagash, Tommy Arthur's from Pizza Port, and Adam Avery from Avery Brewery in Boulder. We all need to go to Belgium in March. So it's for a chapter of his book. So I'm going to Belgium twice this year.
Wow.
But I couldn't tell Natalie about this trip until after I'd given her gift, because there's no way that she was going to let me go to Belgium without her, without knowing that I already had a trip planned for us already. So I gave her the gift in the form of a song that a band sang for me at our pub.
Okay.
Wow. And then about an hour later I go, "Oh, and by the way, I have to go to Belgium in March as well." And,
so she thought one came before the other. You're just making up for it.
And then she goes, "Oh, you're full of shit. you planned this after." I'm like, "No, I swear to God,
you got a miserable life.
Your trip was planned first." But that's going to be 5 days of heavy drinking with the 4 other brewers, and it's called an American Pilgrimage to Belgium. And they've got an Italian beer writer named Lorenzo is heading the trip up, and an American photographer named Kevin Fleming, who does work for National Geographic and is traveling with us to photograph the whole thing for Sam's new book. And it's a book called Extreme Brewing.
Okay.
And actually it may work out perfect when he comes out with that, when they start distributing here for you guys to have Sam in.
Yeah.
And the book's going to be more geared towards beginners, though, because all the recipes that we're all contributing are actually extract recipes.
Right.
Oh,
There's
nice.
no all grain recipes involved, so it's going to be a different twist on it. And
you're gonna have to leave us a list of guests to come in on here. That's a great idea.
In Papazian's new book about Sam. And he did like 200 batches of extract with different spices and stuff. And the guy's out there as far as adjuncts and additives. I mean,
yeah, he's out there more than the brewer too.
You guys want to answer a quick question from the listeners? We're gonna do this guest doc before the break.
Yeah, guess me.
And let's answer a question real quick, and then we're gonna have to take a break. I want to add Brett to a beer, maybe a wheat, but I will ferment with ale yeast, then add Brett. When should I add Brett, and for how long?
That's a perfect question for what we're drinking.
Before we do, I just want to elaborate for those who maybe don't know what the heck Brett is.
Yeah, Brettanomyces is wild yeast,
okay,
but it is cultured. You can buy it from either White Labs or Y yeast.
Okay.
I use both. And but we say Brett for short for Brettanomyces.
Especially because after you're drinking, don't bother trying to say Brettanomyces.
Yeah, Brettanomyces is a hard one. And real quick, I'll answer the question. I got to tell a funny story super fast. Travis, our assistant brewer, announced yesterday to everyone at the brewery that he and his wife Laura are pregnant. And he comes to me and he goes, "Yeah, we're thinking of names, and for you, we're going to call him Brett for Brettanomyces."
Nice,
sweet,
very nice.
That's
sweet.
dedication.
That is dedication. But
that kid's going to be
Brett
messed up.
Yeah, it's got wild yeast, got Kramer's hair.
Yeah,
but
with 2 T's.
Right.
Yeah. But we're drinking a beer right now called Deification. That is our newest Belgian / wild beer, and it is a pale ale where we fermented it out with something similar to White Lab's Trappist ale yeast. It started out as I think it's like a 1050, 1060 gravity. What do I got? Yeah, 1059. It's 6.35% alcohol. It's pretty hoppy at 40 BUs. And this beer that we're drinking here was bittered with, we used Amarillo in the mash, and then we bittered with Magnum, and then we finished it with Cascade and Sterling. So it's a really odd combination for a Belgian-style beer using Brett.
Yeah.
And so we fermented the beer out normal, and then when the beer went into kegs, we added the Brettanomyces.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of a homebrew, you'd be looking at maybe a cup or so would be enough for 5 gallons in the keg or in your bottling bucket. And in the case of the beer we're drinking, Deification, we didn't add any priming sugar. We let all the residual sugar work as becoming the carbonation.
Okay.
So you could either do it 2 ways. You could add the Brett to the carboy or fermenter wherever you're letting it age and let it sit, or you can do what we did and let it finish in the bottle or in the keg. But there are certain strains of Brettanomyces that aren't going to work so well in the package. Package meaning the bottle or the keg. This is using Brucellanus, Brettanomyces brucellanus from Y yeast.
Okay.
And that's what we're drinking right now.
Out of this one.
The Brucellanus strain, Brettanomyces brucellanus strain from White Labs is probably a little less tested because they're not as advanced with the Brettanomyces as Y yeast is. So,
I gotcha.
Nothing wrong with White Lab strains. It's just
haven't been doing it as long.
They haven't been doing it as long. Okay. So you could do it in either place, and it would take the same amount of Brettanomyces. The more Brett you add in liquid form, the quicker it's going to kick. The one thing you have to be careful of, especially in the bottle, is if you do pitch the Brett in with your beer, mix it up, bottle it. If you let it sit too long, the Brett's going to eat through everything, and you're going to have an overcarbonated beer that potentially could be a bottle bomb.
So is there a rule of thumb?
I'm still learning it, so no.
Okay.
Call me in 6 months and I'll know.
All right.
What we're drinking right now is a draft only product, and we've already noticed that the kegs are overcarbonated.
Gotcha.
So we've moved all the kegs were sitting out in the brewery conditioning, and now we've moved them all in the cold box to stop. The few bars that I've sold it to, every one of them's called me, told me it's overcarbonated, so I've had to walk them through correcting how to correct it to serve it right.
Right.
And so we know now next time when we make this beer that we need to finish the beer drier.
Mm-hmm.
We need to lower the original gravity so that we still come out with 6.35% alcohol. So
right.
That's kind of where we want to be, but we want to have less residual sugar in the final product when the Brettanomyces goes in,
Gotcha.
so that there's less carbonation formed. It's a little tricky.
Yeah.
And there is no answer to that, or not that we know of.
But mess with it, I guess, then.
It's all trial and error.
Yeah.
And what we tasted earlier, the Redemption, the first beer before we went on the air, that we pitched Brett as well at bottling. And we're also suggesting to customers that, age it for a little bit out, but if you're going to age it for long periods of time, keep it cooler, because the Brett will keep working through, and I don't want to get a bunch of hate mail.
Yeah.
The cork pushed out.
What's up, Daniel?
How long did you put the keg for conditioning that you kept at room temperature?
That was about 3 weeks. And at 2 weeks, we had carbonation and Brettanomyces flavor. It's the first time ever we've had Brettanomyces character come out this fast.
That fast, yeah.
I mean, in less than a month. So
between overcarbonating and still getting the Brett flavor.
And really what we did was something similar to Orval, except Orval, Belgian Trappist beer, puts the Brett in an aging tank, lets it sit for a month or so, and then it goes into the bottle where it continues to work.
Daniela?
The listener also would like to know if his beer equipment will be infected after using the bread, or if it will clean out with like using acid or something.
That's
like that.
a good question. If you're using plastic, anything plastic is going to become contaminated. Is the wrong word. It'll be full of Brettanomyces. And,
it's now your Brett bucket.
It is your Brett bucket. I keep, although I don't homebrew really much anymore. Sometimes we'll bottle 5 gallons of a beer, bottle condition that, doesn't get bottled normally. And we have one bucket that's our Brett bucket, just like you said, and one that's our non-Brett bucket.
Gotcha.
And we've taken our Brett bucket and put a non-Brettanomyces beer in it and used non-Brettanomyces tubing. And in 6 months that beer had Brettanomyces. So you can use it to your advantage too, though. Just like a Belgian brewer or a craft brewer uses a barrel. That's one of the reasons we like using wood barrels is because the wood is porous. And
right.
It holds the wild yeast and bacteria. Well, you can do using plastic buckets the same way.
Okay.
You're not going to get the air diffusion through the wood, but it would work great.
But if you want to then go back to regular beers without Brett, you're going to have to buy an extra bucket
or whatever.
Or be using glass, right?
Glass will clean but consider that anything that's porous is going to get infiltrated by Brett, or as we call them, the critters. So at the brewery, we have 2 of everything. We have a whole set of hoses, beer hoses and mind you, our beer hose is $10 a foot.
Wow.
So we have 100 feet of beer hose that sits around for
what's that, like $15?
Yeah.
Right?
We have pumps, gaskets, valves. We have 2 of everything, so that when we run a Brettanomyces or a wild beer, that we bring all this equipment out that is only used for that purpose. And then when we're done, we clean it, put it away, and then reattach, valves, tubings, hoses that are non-Brettanomyces.
Okay.
So.
What about serving lines?
Hang on. I got to register a guest and take a break. We're going to have to answer that when we come back. Got to do this.
Okay.
So let's do this game real quick because we got our tasting at 6. So I got to do the game, take a break, come back. Remember that question, Doc.
Okay.
The game is Guess Doc, and it's going to be a caller, 888-401-BEER. And what you need to do is call in and tell us what Doc is saying. And it's during one of his slurry bouts. It's a short clip. I'll play it a couple of times, but, obviously if you get it fast, call in, 888-401-BEER. And you're registering to win a full kegging system for your home brew from Northern Brewer, www.northernbrewer.com. Right, John?
Correct.
Thanks, buddy. Here you go. Listen up.
Bring it out.
I told you it's quick. All right, quiet on the set. I'll play it once more.
Bring it out.
The game is Guess Doc.
Doc is cracking up over
I don't even know what I said.
888-401-BEER. We got our first caller, so let's see if we can find out what's happening over here. I'll play it while the caller's on the air, too, once more.
Bring it out.
Doc, you have no idea how hard I laughed when I found that clip. All right, we're going to get our first caller on the air here and see if they got it.
Well, first I'm photoshopped, and now this.
Okay, let's give it a go. Yeah. Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah.
And did you hear the clip?
No, I didn't.
Oh, who are we talking to?
It's Code.
Oh, hey, Code.
Children. Right on.
Did you just calling in for a different game? Or
no, it was still streaming over here. I didn't get a chance to hear it.
Oh, the delay. I gotcha. Can you call back?
Okay.
You're going to have to because people are going to be trying to call to win this thing.
No, I understand.
Call us back.
See you guys.
Thanks, buddy. All right. It's weird that nobody called. It happened to us. It happens all the time. Like, nobody calls the whole time, and then right when we do our thing. I'll play it once more. 888-401-BEER. We're registering to win a kegging system. This is Doc. Guess what he says.
Bring it out.
Oh, Doc.
I could have edited your laugh out, but I just thought it was better with it in there,
Hey,
too.
it's a lead up, man.
Exactly. So we
Sets
got another...
the mood.
I'll play it once more.
Bring it out.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, what's going on?
Who are we talking to?
Buzzcut.
Hey, Buzzcut, how are you?
Good.
You have a kegging system at home?
No, I do not.
You don't.
Would you like one?
Yeah. And where are you calling from?
Reno.
Reno, Nevada. Do you have a gambling problem like Daniela?
No, I have a beer problem like you.
Oh.
Thank you for that.
Fair enough. Okay, did you guess what Doc's saying?
I think so.
All right, go ahead.
I think he said, I need a freaking beer.
That's a good one. That's a creative one if it's not it. Let me play it again. Hang on.
Freaking It's even funny the 10th time.
All right, I'm going to take some more calls and see what else we get, Buzz.
All right, man.
Hang in there.
Later.
All right. He could be right. I don't know. That's not my first guess, I'll tell you that. We might do a consensus. 888-401-BEER. Guess Doc.
Freaking
Doc, I am so happy with myself for finding that clip. It's unbelievable.
Just pat yourself on the back.
It's just good fun. And what a good way to give away a kegging system for Northern Brewer.
Yeah, at my expense.
At Doc's expense, exactly.
If he doesn't show up next week, we know why.
Yeah. All right, enough chit-chat over there. Are they calling to win, Daniela? All right, good. Here we go. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, what up?
You got to turn your radio down in the background, buddy.
Okay.
Who are we talking to?
This is Caleb.
Hey, Caleb. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Flagstaff, Arizona.
All right. So you get the warm weather year-round, don't you?
Yeah, in my ass. It's snowing right now.
Oh, that's right. Flagstaff is the mountainous part.
Yeah, we're at 7,000 feet up here, so.
I gotcha.
Burr.
All right. What did you guess that Doc says?
We're thinking freaking out.
That's what I'm thinking,
that's
too.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, too.
That's a registered winner right there.
Freaking out. Freaking out.
Yeah. You are hilarious. You crack me up every...
Thanks.
Because you know what? I think I have the same... I do the same thing. I'm pretty sure I did.
The same slur?
I'm not to that point yet, but I might have to be tonight.
I'm going to play it one last time. Make sure everybody in the studio here agrees. All right, Daniela, you listening?
I'm listening.
All right.
Freaking out.
Yeah, that's
freaking out.
It's freaking out. The funny thing is, and I thought that's what he said too, but in all the audio around it, the conversation that's going on, it makes no sense whatsoever for him to be saying that. It doesn't fit at all.
Well, that fits perfectly. It's not making sense to anyone else.
Yeah.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah, nice work. All right.
Glad to be your whipping boy.
Guys, I just spent a couple hours this morning bottling beer, and it was painful.
Oh, man.
I knew. I was like, I am calling in tonight, and I'm going to win.
Well, you're destined now.
Well, you're now registered. You're registered. We're going to give it away first week in February, I think, is the deal. And you're now you're now the fourth person to register. We're going to register two more people today, and we'll figure out how we're giving it away at the end.
Awesome.
The good thing is we're giving away some other stuff, too. I know that the kegging system is the grand poobah, but we got some other stuff to give away.
Maybe a cool hat or
some
something.
Secondary prizes. All right, send Daniela and John both, please, your information.
All right, will do.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks a lot, guys.
See ya. Nice. That guy needs it.
Freaking out. Freaking out.
All right, we're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to do our Chimay tasting, and then we're going to dedicate some time to hops. I think that's what we got to do. We'll answer Doc's question real quick about since we were on the Brett, and then we'll move on to hops. I got a song to play that Crazy Jack brought in for us. I thought it was pretty good. And since we're whipping Doc anyway, I'm going to play this for him. This is Doc's song, and Crazy Jack brought it in. So, short break. It's only about 4 minutes long. Hang in there, guys. It's the Brewing Network. We'll be right back.
When I'm out driving in my car, I like to be able to steer. So I don't drink beer. And when I try to communicate, I want for my words to be clear. So I don't drink beer, 'cause it doesn't make me feel well, and I need every brain cell I've been given. And I don't drink beer, I don't mean to be overcautious, but but the bitter taste makes me nauseous. I don't drink beer. When I'm out walking round the town, I don't wanna fall down on my rear. So I don't drink beer. When I'm trying to ride a wave, I don't wanna crash into the pier. So I don't drink beer. I don't drink beer. I don't need to head for the mountains or wake up in the mall fountain on Sunday morning. And I don't drink beer. I don't need an advisor to know that bud don't make me wiser. I don't drink beer. Oh, oh, oh. I don't drink beer. And when I'm giving my wife a hug, I don't wanna throw up in her ear. So I don't drink beer. I like being sober. I don't drink beer.
And now, back to three guys with absolutely nothing better to do. The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
All right, we're back. Problem is, I got to go keep finding those clips of you, Doc, now, if we're going to make it a regular deal, you know what I'm saying?
So I should, make some more?
Yeah. I think that all the tasting we do today might help you out. It's going to help out my cause. All right, is this...
This is the Chimay.
This is the Chimay? Because I just poured myself something, too, and I'm wondering if I poured myself something else.
No, I saw Jonathan just take your glass away.
He took my glass away?
Yeah.
And gave me this?
Yeah, I did.
Why'd you do that?
Because you need to drink that.
I'm going to do both. I wanted to two-fist it.
Well,
it's the lace glass.
Crazy Jack has your glass.
The worst thing you can do is take my beer, man.
It's bad. You lose a hand that way.
I could.
Okay, so we got the Chimay red label, as opposed to the brown one that John found somewhere.
I like the red better than the brown.
And you want to talk to us about it even before we do a little taste, Vinny? You know the most about this stuff.
God, I'm
stumping you?
No, I'm kind of disappointed. I shouldn't say that. I should let you all taste it first.
Super malty.
It's way malty.
It's like
I don't. It's been a while since I've had Chimay Red, but
it's possibly the maltiest beer I've had in like the last year.
It seems sweeter than I remember.
It's almost like a Doppelbock.
And there's a beer writer by the name of Tim Webb. And he writes the Good Beer Guide to Belgium.
Okay.
If you ever want to read about someone just bagging on Chimay.
Oh, really?
And he just thinks that what they've done has changed the recipe and dumbed it down. And I don't know if that's so much the case, but I still love Chimay. But this is by far the maltiest.
It's not bad. It's just real malty.
It's got a real big caramel character. Where'd you buy these at?
More Beer had them.
Oh, okay.
We got them from, I think, Wine Warehouse.
Yeah.
There is a little tang in there too, though. What's the tanginess I'm tasting, kind of in there?
With the leftover Brett that's still in your mouth.
Yeah, that actually might be it. We didn't.
You need to use your other mouth.
No palate cleanse.
Tastes old.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it smells a little cardboardy.
Okay.
Which is a sign of age. I'm trying to look on the bottle to see what the bottling date, but I don't know if I don't know if there's a way to tell on their stuff. The thing with Chimay is they've got the red, the white, and the blue. If you buy the bottles, a little 330 centiliter or 33 centiliters, 330 milliliters, there's no way to know when it was bottled, made. The big bottles, the 750 milliliters, the blue have it on the cork when it was packaged. So we've got a bottle of Chimay Blue that I brought in that's from 97.
Okay.
So it was, I think, 5 of 97, does it say there?
Maybe we should do a comparison.
And
the Vinnie puppet was trying to jump in there.
Yeah.
Hey,
5 of 97.
Vinnie?
I think my sister brought me this earlier this year.
I was wondering if I could have a taste. This is the Vinnie puppet. You don't really give me any back at the brewery anymore. I was hoping you might let me have some. Again, please.
No, bad puppet.
Crazy Jack's angry that I made the puppet the Vinnie puppet. He just wanted it to be some regular puppet, but I just couldn't have that.
Personality now.
It has to have
it's like costuming now.
See, I'll touch you nicely if you give me a beer, Vinnie.
You can touch me on my shoulder and nowhere else.
Sorry I made fun of that name you made up for Pliny the Elder last week. Thing is, what the hell does that mean? Nobody knows. What's Pliny?
Come on, Vinnie. touch the felt.
Just touch it once.
Feel the felt.
Could you stop making me wear this rainbow jacket out in public, too, Vinnie?
He's got sweet hair.
He does have nice hair.
His sweet hair. That's awesome.
All right, Vinnie Puppet, you're going to have to go back in your box for a little while. Wait till later.
Thanks.
I'll let you talk to the drunk of the week later, Vinnie Puppet. How about that?
I'm telling you, this puppet is a threat to you. People want the puppet to replace you.
We should do a whole show where the Vinnie Puppet hosts. Imagine trying to ask us serious questions with the Vinnie Puppet.
Give him his own show.
Yeah, we should have his own show.
The Puppet Show.
That'd go over like a fart in church.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Well, anything else to say about this beer, then, that might help people tasting it on their palates at home?
I find one of the best places to buy Chimay is, if you have them in your neighborhood, more of a West Coast thing, is Trader Joe's.
Oh, okay.
Trader Joe's always has pretty fresh Chimay.
Okay.
And
they do the warm stock, though.
They do, but with Belgian beers, for the most part, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And the Chimays will do okay, especially. I like Chimay White the best. It's a blonde beer. It's drier. They say the Chimay Blue will age the best.
Okay.
Which we'll find out. We'll tell you. Maybe 5 years ago, Natalie and I rolled down to the Toronado, and this was before we had gotten to know Dave and Jennifer like we do now. And Dave, for whatever reason, popped open like a 15-year-old bottle or 10-year-old bottle of Chimay, maybe white, and then Chimay Blue, and they were fantastic.
Really?
So if aged properly,
okay,
all three of the Chimays will do a good job aging in the bottle.
And this guy we're about to open here, 7 years, huh?
So 97 Chimay Blue, which is 9% alcohol. It's the biggest of the three that they make, they make 4 beers technically, but 3 that you can buy.
Listener wants to know if it really makes a difference to pour Chimay in a goblet-shaped glass.
Yes. Mm-hmm. For that matter, almost any beer.
Any beer better in a goblet shape.
I believe so. Okay. Especially, I think even more so with a hoppy beer.
Yeah.
Take your regular. I hate pint glasses.
Okay.
The 16-ounce pint glasses. Yeah. We don't use them at our brew pub. Mm-hmm. We have our logo on them for promotions and stuff that we use out and about. But take a regular 16-ounce pint glass that you get at most bars.
Yeah.
And you take it, get one from your house, put a beer in a goblet or a wine glass, particularly a hoppy beer.
Yeah.
Put it in both equal amounts, same beer, same temperature. taste the two, smell the two first. The aroma will just jump out of the glass.
Now Dan Gordon came in and said the same thing about the pint glasses. It's about the shape pointing outward and not directing it toward your senses.
Right.
But even it doesn't necessarily have to be a goblet to do that. For example, we got a Moonlight glass and a Gordon Biersch,
and they start to close at the top.
Not as much as a goblet. It doesn't curl and keep it in.
Right.
But it does close and push it toward your senses right there, and you know. So
there's a reason why wine glasses are the way they are.
There you go. That's a perfect example.
And we do a lot of beer sales now with our bottles at wine shops, and that also have tasting there. And the owners are always freaked out about, we don't have beer glasses, and we'd much prefer them to be tasting out of wine glasses. So,
I got a question for the Vinnie Puppet from the chat room, but I don't know if the Vinnie Puppet's going to know this.
That's what I figured.
Am I going to have to step in?
You might have to.
You might have
Can
to.
You give me your best,
Vinnie Puppet?
Can you give me your best Vinnie Puppet voice? Question to the puppet is, what is a good yeast to make all-around Belgian-style beers?
Oh, gosh.
That's like asking, which is my favorite child?
Yeah.
Right on.
Maybe you could narrow it down.
I will narrow it down to, Abbey Ale, 530, White Labs.
Thank you, Vinnie Puppet. I appreciate that.
You're my hero.
Couple years ago, Chris and Lisa White came up to visit us, and our cat's name is Abby. Okay. And Abby wandered into our life on the same day that I brewed one of the first Belgian beers at Russian River when we were out at Corbel. And so a year later, a few years ago, Lisa and Chris come up and stay with us, and we introduce, Chris and Lisa to our cat Abby, and Lisa starts calling our cat 530 because that's their number.
Yeah.
So Jonathan's laughing the most. From beer, more beer. He knows that 530 is Abbey Ale yeast. So
nice.
The whole weekend they were with us, Lisa would be like, "Come here, 530. Here, 530. 530."
That's great.
So now Abby also is affectionately known as 530. But I would say that 530 is probably the most well-rounded Belgian yeast, which is originally from Westmalle, West Vleteren, or Aachen, which are the three Trappist monasteries that use that particular yeast. But it's not too fruity. Like the Trappist yeast is a big fruit bomb if you ferment it too warm.
Yeah.
The Abbey is very alcohol tolerant. You can get it up to 12-13% alcohol without any trouble. It's got some phenolic character, but the phenols aren't too strong. The smoky, slight plastic quality won't be too strong if you keep the temperature in check.
Okay.
With what the producer suggests. And Y yeast has an equivalent to it as well. I just don't know the number. Their numbers. Yeah.
Hey, Vinny, I was wondering when you're going to go ahead and admit that I taught you everything you know.
It's a puppet, man.
I think it's about time you let the cat out of the bag, so to speak.
If the puppet only knew.
All right, let me taste this 7-year-old Chimay. This one's the blue label we got going right here, right?
Which is 9% alcohol.
What do you think of the Bastogne or?
All right, now that's completely different.
Bastogne yeast?
Yeah, the Bastogne yeast.
Bastogne yeast,
which is supposedly from Orval. We use the Bastogne yeast on a lot of our barrel beers, and the Bastogne yeast. This would be a good yeast for the person that emailed in earlier about when to use Brett, because the Bastogne yeast from White Labs is specifically made for Brettanomyces beers because it finishes its fermentation usually a little bit sweeter, so it leaves residual sugar for the Brett to work through.
Okay.
And it's a pretty neutral yeast, so it's like that on purpose, so that the Brett can be the main flavor component.
Okay, interesting.
How cold are you supposed to drink Chimay? One of the listeners wants to know. Does it say on there?
No, they just say don't use this glass. Don't use a funny pint glass. Use a Chimay glass, which we do that on our label at Russian River.
What you use too,
we have got a little picture on the label, and our corks have it too now.
The only goblets we have are the ones you gave us last time.
Yeah, I meant to bring some more in, and I ran out without goblets and without pizza. So it doesn't.
You won't be coming back.
Yeah. No, I would say the Chimay, in the maybe high 40s.
Okay.
In the 30s is definitely too cold.
Okay.
Because there's so much fruit-driven flavor in Chimay.
The warm temperatures get that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
The warm temperatures will help get that out. Be a little less, dry, because the colder the beer, the more dry and more bitter it takes. I like my hoppy beers pretty cold, because it makes the bitterness more accentuated.
Absolutely.
But, now the one thing with the Chimay Blue is, if you smell it, grab the cork there, Jonathan.
Has a bit of a Scotch taste to it.
It's corked, actually, and if you smell the cork and then smell the beer,
musty.
It's musty, and that's actually the cork. And if you look at the old Chimay cork there and look at the newer Russian River cork, this is the same cork that Chimay uses now, and so I guess I'm copying the monks. But this new cork won't give any cork taint like the old one does.
I see.
And so we're smelling cork taint. And this is a huge problem in the wine industry that they're starting to rectify.
I almost feel like I'm tasting it, too. It's not smelling it only.
Yeah, you can taste the cork, too.
Don't lick the cork.
Yeah.
No, in the beer. That's that Scotch flavor I was getting. It's that musty Scotch flavor.
It's very musty, and if 5 years ago, almost every cork finished Belgian beer had this flavor, and it's interesting. Phil Markowski, who wrote the Farmhouse Ale books, he actually talks about the musty cork, taint quality, and I have
a positive thing he talks about.
No, just as describing the flavor as that cellar musty quality.
It's got that barrel. When you're looking at a lot of barrels in a big cellar. That's what it smells like.
Yeah. And I have a problem with it just because I've come from the wine industry, and cork taint is such a huge part of what the wine industry, wants to get away from.
Yeah.
And so this composite cork that we use is actually a bunch of cork glued together with
agglomerated?
With some sort of silicone coating, and Onyo is the company that does it, and everyone uses it now. And this cork is made specifically for the bottle that Chimay's in, or that we bottle into the same bottle style that Chimay does, or Duvel, or Ommegang, Allagash, Unibrew from Canada.
Yeah.
Is it still porous, allowing air out of your bottle to escape when you cork it?
Not much, no.
Okay.
These are pretty tight corks, and they're, even after a year of in the bottle, they're really tough to get out, which is what we want.
Yeah.
I love the use of the cork, but
hey, I don't know who doesn't like a good tight cork.
Exactly.
I don't know anybody.
Yeah. It's right up there with the bung of the barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Vinnie, the listeners would like to know if it's possible to cork the beer at home.
Funny thing, I think More Beer is starting to think about keeping corks in, because
corks for wine, but
I just got, was it you or was it Jason that called me about where I get the corks from?
Probably Jason.
Yeah, I think Jason did from More Beer. But it is possible to cork finish beer at home.
Okay.
It does take the special cork that we use.
Right.
The small corks that, say a champagne producer, sparkling wine producer, like Corbel, uses a very small cork that's very similar to the size of the cork we use, but it's about 2 millimeters smaller in diameter.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Belgian beer bottle that we use, that makes all the difference in the world. The first batch of Damnation, we had a lot of leaking bottles, leaking CO2. So once we've switched to this new cork, it's fixed it all. So I know More Beer is looking into getting these corks, but you have to have the right corker, because a regular wine corker will want to push the cork in all the way.
Okay.
And the way that a wine corker is set up, the jaws are going to still be holding on to the cork when you're trying to pull the bottle out of the corking mechanism.
Yeah.
The second problem you'll have at home is getting the cork to mushroom, because our machine at the brewery only puts the cork in about maybe a half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and then the cork gets pushed in the rest of the way by the part of the machine that mushrooms the cork and spins the hood and wire on.
You've just got a giant corking machine kind of deal there?
No, it's not that. It's about as big as this console here, and which is maybe
It's not too
3
big.
feet wide. Natalie calls it my $14,000 toy.
And do you have to put each one in there by hand?
Each one does, and then we move it from one station to the other. We can bottle a couple hundred cases, 12 bottles to a case in a day.
Okay.
But we only bottle a couple times a month, so most of the time it sits idle.
Okay.
But at home, when we bottle the big bottles, like the 3-liter that I brought in, to get that cork to mushroom, we have a separate corker that will get the big corks in the large format bottles, but still we have to mushroom the bottle, and you can do the same thing at home. I take a little piece of 2x4 and just press down on the cork to a point where the 2x4 on the cork in the bottle is supporting my entire weight.
Really?
I'm off the ground.
You're a brave guy.
That's not safe, Vinnie.
Yeah, it's probably not safe. No. But you could do the same thing, and these bottles will take the pressure, and then you can get the small hidden wires to spin them on.
Right.
And you can just spin it on by hand. We've got a little handheld deal that has a finger on it that grabs the hidden wire, and you can spin it 6.5 times or 6.5 times, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you can just do it by hand, and it will work, but you need to find the right corker.
Right. It's going to take some ingenuity.
And I've actually bought a corker somewhere online. I can't remember if it was a home beer and wine shop that had it or an actual commercial. I think it was a home beer and wine shop that actually advertised a bench, corker that was much like a wine bottle corker, except it was for champagne bottles, and somehow the jaws release early so that 3/4 of the cork is still sitting out, so you can get it to mushroom. So it can be done.
Petros, if you're out there, give us a call. I'm curious if you are working on that, and if you've found a machine to do that might be available at the homebrew shop.
But the beauty, for say more beer, is that the corks, the hood and wires are all available locally.
Yeah.
So
okay. All right, hey, let's start talking hops. How about that? We got a bunch of things to get to, so let's start with that. And I'm going to start with just a question that's been sitting here from the chat room before we talk about growing hops. What hops do you use in your damnation, and how much is appropriate to style?
I don't know the exact recipe of quantity. Hop varieties we use, we bitter with Sterling, and just a tiny bit of Sterling at the beginning. It's mostly Styrian Golding.
Mm-hmm.
Styrian Golding is an offshoot of Fuggles. You get a big orange blossom quality off the Styrian. This actually goes for every Belgian beer we make for the most part.
Okay.
It's Styrian Golding and Sterling. We use the same two varieties on almost every beer. So Damnation is Styrian Golding, first hop edition, probably 95% Styrian, 5% Sterling. We use Sterlings in the mid-boil, and we finish with a huge charge of Sterling at the end as well. If you want the exact recipe, you can Stan Hieronymus, who wrote Brew Like a Monk.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge chapter in his book about Damnation and Temptation, two of the Belgian and barrel-aged beers.
Okay.
And I've put the Damnation parameters in his book, and then I also contributed a recipe that's one of the early versions of Damnation that's not necessarily current where we're at,
mm-hmm.
but it's a great starting point for someone that wants to make a strong golden ale, something like Damnation or, similar to Duvel.
Okay.
Something to that effect.
Okay. All right, let's talk growing hops. And you're one of the brewers around here, and I don't think that there are too many at all that go ahead and grow their own. And I think you do it. There are other places that do it. I know EJ Fair does it to brew one batch of beer that comes out every year, and it's their harvest ale, and a couple of other breweries do that. Do you only do it for a one batch type of thing, or do you get enough to really, brew?
Yeah, we grow hops just to make Hop Time Harvest Ale, which is our wet hop beer.
The wet hop, that's right. Okay,
but we are making a full 2 or 3 full batches some years. Some years it's just one. It depends what the harvest is.
Okay. And how did you start growing hops? Did you grow your own first at home before you did the whole crop?
I did, yeah. Back when I had Blind Pig Brewery in Southern California, my mom and I grew hops actually in the old cow corral.
Oh, okay.
On my parents' property.
Nice.
In that case, the ground was a little too fertile. The hops had a terrible green tomato planting quality, which happens sometimes when you grow hops. But but when we started the brewery at Corbel, it was actually ruled by the county of Sonoma that we had to grow hops, because there's actually an ordinance in Sonoma County. If you're going to make some sort of alcoholic product,
mm-hmm.
wine or beer, you have to be, and it's in an agriculture area, which
mm-hmm.
we were at Corbel.
Right.
We weren't within the city limits of a town. It wasn't Healdsburg, Santa Rosa, anything like that, or Guerneville. So the county made us grow hops, and that was our agricultural contribution to the beer.
Perfect.
So the first 2 years, we dried the hops. And I actually ended up buying Sonoma Mountain Brewery's hop dryer. Sonoma Mountain was a brewery that Benzinger Winery owned for a year or so. I had it going for a year or so before they closed it in Sonoma County.
Okay.
And ended up never using the unit, the hop dryer, because right when I bought it from them, the first 2 years I dried hops, just sun dried them. Which if you do want to dry the hops at home, that's the best way to do it because it's a slow kiln. But what I'm going to advocate here is to grow hops to make a wet hop beer, to make a harvest ale. But if you do want to dry them, the slower kilning's better. And Ralph Olson from Hop Union is actually talking about potentially offering some slow kilned hops to some brewers. And
attaboy.
Breweries as big as Sierra Nevada Steve Dressa from Sierra Nevada has even said, told Ralph we would be interested in some of these for experimental purposes. But the problem for a hop grower or purveyor like Ralph Olson is at Hop Union is that they're looking at thousands of pounds of hops needing to roll through.
Yeah.
So if they're going to tie a kiln up for an extra, day to slow dry a batch of hops, and they're backed up with all these varieties, that's not where they're going to make their money as farmers.
It's an added feature, I guess, that they could offer.
If they could do it.
I was under the impression, some reading that I did, that a slow drying of the hops could lead to a moldy or musty flavor in the hops too, that you want to get that, you want to get them dry as fast as possible because you don't want the inside of them to stay wet.
Yeah,
skunkiness too.
If you were just going to sun dry them, you don't have that trouble. I know that from experience.
Okay.
But the flip side to it is when you heat them at 140 degrees or so, which is what they kiln at in Yakima, you're also driving off a huge amount of the aromatics. A huge amount of the volatile oils are being, taken out.
At that temperature, 140?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you actually expose your hops to the sun at that? To dry them out?
Yeah, when we do sun dry, which has been many, many years, it's just whatever, Sonoma County in the middle of August is 90 to 95 degrees and let them sit for 12 to 24 hours.
And that's the day you pick it?
We would pick it and then put it on these boards.
Yeah.
Like at home. I've seen home brewers, take a chest drawer and put a old school like your grandma would have to dry their hair, like a big round dome deal.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You'd probably have to get it at the thrift store nowadays.
Hair dryers.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
And then they take the boards out of the bottom of the drawers and change it into a screen.
Yeah.
And then put the hops in there in the chest of drawers, and then they rotate the drawers through.
Okay.
To dry the hops. But I'm totally for advocating wet hop beers though nowadays. I don't think there's any reason why a home brewer needs to dry their hops. The fact that you can plant a couple plants and put 2-3 plants in the ground, and you have enough to make 5 or 10 gallons of a wet hop beer.
Okay.
And be on the cutting edge of, what I think is the next in hops, both commercially and homebrewers. And I think homebrewers have so much more room to play with a wet hop beer than a commercial brewer does. Because a commercial brewer has the boundaries of how do I get 100 or 200 pounds of hops to my brewery if I'm in Chicago or in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
From a commercial brewer, it is more about, being a West Coast brewer or being in New York, because New York is starting to revitalize their hop, growing, which was one of the hop growing communities of America.
Okay.
Back, post-prohibition before it moved up to Yakima.
Okay.
So.
You want to, now I'm interested in the wet hop process. Do you want to go right into that, or you want to talk about some basics of growing your hop plants at home first? Can we do that?
Yeah, let's talk about growing hops.
Okay.
And then what I thought would be good too is maybe July I could roll back through and actually talk about harvesting, because it's the first thing is everything I'm going to talk about here. It's going to sound like a lot of information.
Okay.
And it is, but it's not that hard.
Yeah.
You can buy a bag of potting soil at the gardening center, dig a hole, put the hop rhizomes in, you cover it with about an inch of potting soil, and you give it a little miracle grow and continue to water it, and you're going to get results. Hops are one of the most prolific plants on the earth.
Slow down. I'm kidding. Yeah. If I can, I did exactly the caveman process that Vinny just described.
And it worked.
And I mean to the T. I don't know if you followed me to the Home Depot that day, Vinny, but that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And I grew some serious vines out in the backyard there. I just left them there and watered them a crap load.
Yeah. They're amazing. So,
all right, well, let's talk about some procedures we can get to growing some good vines.
So to start with, the best resource is freshhops.com. That's FRESHOPS. So there's just one H in freshhops.com. That's a guy by the name of Dave Wills, and he's up in Yakima area up in Washington. And that's where you want to buy your rhizomes from. I don't know if there are homebrew supply shops around the country that do sell them, but if you want to get the best selection, you got to get your orders in early and he'll have listed everything he's got for sale. But
it's a great site. I've seen it too,
and it's the most comprehensive hop site on the internet. He has every hop pedigree listed. Like, did you know there was 6 types of Boolean hops? And
wow,
there's Russian hops. And there's some crazy stuff.
And a quick plug for him too. I had a buddy last year when every homebrew shop it seemed like on the planet was out of rhizomes.
Yeah, rhizomes. Dave had them probably.
Okay, he had them. He because his dog ate his plant and he was bummed. He's like, I really want to grow, and he ate. It was just sprouting, and he thought he was done. He went to Fresh Hops and got him next week. Sent him the week after.
So on freshhops.com is basically everything I'm going to talk about here. So you don't have to sit and take notes. You can
very good
jump online and check out all the information. But with that said, you want to plant them in March or between March and May. The main thing is to wait till you've had your last frost. Here in Northern California, that's about, in Sonoma County, the last frost day, they say, is April 14th. So you're looking somewhere between March and May. And the second component is to wait till you're sure that the last heavy rain has rolled through.
Oh, really?
We've had years when we were growing hops out at Corbell, where we put new hops in the vine in April, and then we had an unseasonable shower in early May, and the hops ended up just turning to mold, and they just got mushy in the ground because there was just too much water. They weren't established yet.
It was before they had sprouted?
And it was before the roots had really taken hold. So I think it's better the first year to be cautious and wait till you have that for sure that the wet season and the cold season has passed.
Okay.
So
all right.
But
fair enough.
So you need a semi-dry climate. Growing hops in San Francisco doesn't work, but damn near anywhere else it will.
It works.
Even in Arizona, I've heard of homebrewers growing hops there. You have to be careful not. You can't have too much heat and burn the vines.
But if there's probably specific strains that are more hardy in hot weather than
there are more. You could say that the two varieties Chimay. I'm drinking Chimay. And
attaboy.
Actually, what are we drinking now? You just poured.
It's my attempt at your golden strong.
Chinook and Cascade are the two varieties. If you've never grown hops before, try Chinook and Cascade. They are the two easiest hops to grow.
Okay.
And normally Cascade, every homebrew shop and Fresh Hops have those available.
Yeah.
But take Arizona for example. You may have to water more so that the vines take more water and they have more water uptake. But it'll work, and you may not get as big of a crop. I don't know if you in the room have been to Sierra Nevada, but they're now growing hops in Chico.
Oh, is that right?
Which has to be one of the hottest areas.
Hot and nasty.
Yeah, but they grow a lot of hop sister in Chico as well, and
yes,
it does just fine. So I'm thinking it fits.
I have a very funny story about that.
You bought the wrong crop?
Yeah.
Accidentally bought the wrong crop.
Try hop.
So,
what type of equipment would you grow your hops on? Like what type of stands, or what would you use as a home brewer?
Yeah, you can either plant hops in the ground, which is best. Because the hops grow horizontally, not necessarily the roots.
Yeah.
Grow more horizontally, not so much vertically.
Okay.
And but if you don't have actual ground to plant them in, plant a terracotta pot or half barrels are the best because they are wide.
Okay.
So I have grown hops in in half barrels, but
Like
I haven't.
Brad, you can fill that glass up, buddy.
The pH
I'm
one.
a thirsty man over here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I've never had as good results in a half barrel as compared to the actual ground.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because it reminds me about a big question I heard a lot of people talking about with how to plant the rhizome itself, whether you plant it vertically or horizontally.
Yeah.
So how do you plant that thing?
I've always planted it horizontally with only about an inch of soil on top, so almost
really?
no soil.
Very shallow.
Very shallow. And you also want to make sure that when you have the rhizome, they're normally 3-4 inches long or wide, and the little white eyes, that is what will eventually be the vines that come up, have to be pointing up. Mm-hmm. And this could be where a lot of homebrewers go wrong, is if they point the little eyes down and think, oh, those are the roots.
Yeah.
The little white eyes, almost like when a potato, sitting in your kitchen too long and the eyes start to grow. Well, it's that same thing. If you get your rhizomes from wherever you buy your hop rhizomes from, the local homebrew shop, fresh hops, and they don't have any of the white, little eyes or arms coming out, nothing will, that rhizome won't work.
Okay.
So you have to have that. And you have to be very careful not to break them off either, because they are very delicate, when you're handling them. But, so you want a somewhat dry climate.
Okay.
But they need a lot of water. You can plant them against a fence, but when you're picking your location to plant the hops, think about that you need some sort of trellising system, because the hops will get to be anywhere from 10 to 25 feet, depending on where you're at. I've gone out and marked a hop vine, and where it's grown 3, 4, 5, 6 inches in a day, and they grow like weeds. And the whole thing about Pliny the Elder, and we named our double IPA after Pliny the Elder, is because he came up with the botanical name for hops.
Okay.
And he talked about how the hops grew wild among the willows like a wolf among scrubs.
Yeah.
And that was his whole point, was that the hops are just, they can grow in almost any climate.
It's a weed.
They're amazing. They grow like weeds. Yeah.
Humulus lupulus.
Yeah, so start out with Lupus solitarius, turn to Humulus lupulus.
Brad, what beer of Vinnie's did you just pour me over here? Do you know?
It's actually John's.
Oh, it's John's?
Yeah, it's my attempt at it.
I may have just given you the best compliment you've ever gotten from out of your beer. Because at a
last time he was on, he drank the hydrometer sample.
Yeah, I remember that. Right. Yes.
Man, this is the bottle.
This is really nice.
It's really good, isn't it? And
really nice.
I was drinking the Chimay, so I'm going, okay, this one has definitely got to be one of Vinnie's. It's back to that real nice flavor. It's all smooth and good. Holy smokes, Johnny!
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
That's really good, man.
That's a 550.
Yeah,
I got one for you, John. Last night, over the holiday season, I got an auction. I won the auction. I won John's beers. And last night I was going through my beer refrigerator in the back. I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want that. And I ran, there's a 6-pack of John's beer. Score! So I started drinking those, and this was one of the first ones I had.
Awesome.
Bring it in. So
thanks.
It was good.
Appreciate it, buddy.
That's
Thank you
good
very
stuff.
Much. I was so happy when I found that 6-pack back then.
Well, you're out of beer now, too, so.
Yeah. You have a whole handful of questions there.
I do. I want
some of those, or you want to keep going on?
I want to do. Let me do a rapid fire with you.
All right.
I think we've gotten. So we know how to plant. We put it in horizontally. Put it in. You're only saying an inch of soil.
Yeah, you want an inch covering it, semi-packed, and your soil. And just dig. You want the hole to be somewhat deep. Maybe dig a hole. Anywhere from 4 or 6 inches, and then fill it with some fresh potting soil or just some good soil. You probably don't want to use what's already there.
Yes,
and
I would agree with that.
And then
Miracle Grow helps a lot.
And I'll talk about fertilizing here.
Okay.
And training them here in a minute.
Cool. And give space for them to grow out horizontally, and then that's the root system. Then the actual vine to go up like mad.
It will go bad, but it can drape over.
Okay.
It's not the optimum for the vine. But
mine, when they draped over, wrapped around themselves.
Going back down, yeah. Hops,
is that all right?
Hops will, it's fine. Hops will grow in the northern hemisphere clockwise. All you have to do is get them trained once to grab and go clockwise. If you're in Australia,
they go the other way.
They will grab counterclockwise. And if you try to grow your hops in North America and try to train them counterclockwise, they will unravel themselves.
Oh, is that
and
right?
Just fall on the ground.
That's
so they're kind of weird like that.
That's not like the myth that their toilet bowls flush the opposite way.
We were just talking about this in the brewery, and Travis goes, "No, that's not. You can make it go anyway."
It's funny how toilet talk is always found around beer. I don't know why that is. Let me do some rapid fire questions, some short answers. First, a compliment to you about the drying hops. Somebody says, I used your dry hopping schedule you described on your first show, and the outcome was, quote, fucking awesome. So,
that's the best compliment you can get, fucking awesome.
Yeah. So we'll give you that.
The only thing better would be a Napoleon Dynamite suite.
Yeah.
I'm a big Napoleon Dynamite fan. And Sopranos. I don't know, they're not related, but.
You're speaking my language right now, Vinny.
Yeah.
Where in New York do the hops grow? You were mentioning it used to be a big capital.
I believe it was upstate.
Just upstate.
New York, but I don't know. Actually, Cooperstown, where Amagang is in the Baseball Hall of Fame, that was a hop growing region. And there's some sort of, New York hop growing guild being put back together. And they're researching how many, breweries would use New York, hops.
Oh, okay.
And so they're really trying to revive that in New
Good
York,
idea.
which is awesome, which is great. Cause what it's going to do is it's not only going to give, the breweries in New York a chance to make wet hop beers, but it's also going to get home brewers the idea on the, in that part of the East Coast, I can grow hops here.
Yeah.
And there's more home brewers that will do it then too.
Okay. What would be a good variety of hops to grow in Missouri?
I have no idea, but I'm going to fall back on Cascade or Chinook. They're the two most hardy varieties.
Okay.
So
probably go anywhere.
Yeah, they really will. Plus, they do great wet hop beers.
Okay. This person says, my hops didn't kick in, live in Reno. Is the altitude maybe too much?
We have a friend that's tried to grow hops up in Tahoe, and it could be.
Okay.
It could be I think they would get some results. I think you'd almost get results almost anywhere.
What I'm thinking, the biggest difference in altitude that it might have an effect on hops is actually the power of the sun. Now, this sounds ridiculous, but
moisture.
What was it, Daniela, that we heard? It's something like 45 or 35% stronger in higher altitudes as the air thins out. It's really a significant amount. I parked my car there for 6 hours.
It was crazy.
My rear view mirror just melted. It fell right off the windshield. The glue just melted, and this was in the winter.
I bet that wasn't Gorilla Glue then.
Yeah, it was
the strongest beer strongest glue in the universe.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if the Tahoe Reno thing might have something to do with how, much thinner the air is as far as the sun getting on those guys.
Right, getting so much more.
Yeah.
Because hops will, crave 16 hours of sunlight a day.
Okay.
That's why, like Yakima, the farther north
right.
they are than say we are here in Northern California, that there's more sunlight going on up there. But you need to correct a lot of heat with probably more water.
Okay.
So that the vines are holding more moisture, so that they're not getting burned. And that would be my suggestion to someone that's in a super hot climate.
Okay.
Or maybe the heat is intensified, to try to use more water.
What about proper soil nutrients?
Yeah, soil is critical, and the hops deplete so much, both nitrogen and phosphorus out of the soil. And the nitrogen you use, hops will use in the early stage, which is when they are growing vertically, and they'll use the phosphorus in the fertilizer when they're flowering.
Okay.
So when you look at a bag of fertilizer, it's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Those are the three numbers. And so hops, that middle number is the most important for hops, but the nitrogen, the first number, is really important too. And we use bat guano, which is bat shit. And I have a couple great stories about bat guano. I'll get to that when I get to the fertilizer part.
Sounds good. I think we're going to have to take a quick break, and we're going to have to do the next registration, and John's got to pee.
Yeah.
John, it's really a good beer, man.
Thanks, buddy.
No, I really like
great.
it. And I don't know if you guys remember, if you listen back to the first show, the first Belgian that I ever drank that I liked was actually the Belgians you brought in that day, Vinny. My palate wasn't ready for most of them before. And yours, Not that they're not true to style, but it was a different, and it was a good entry point for me. And so since then, I've been drinking more of them. And John, that's nice, man. I'm still a bit discriminating. I don't go out buying Belgians.
Sure.
And that's
well,
awesome.
we make a lot of radical Belgians, but we also make a lot of Belgians or Belgian styles that are more approachable.
Looking at this list of you got your 14 stages.
14 shuns now.
So you got 14 different,
Belgian or barrel-aged beers now.
Do you like Belgians, Vinny?
Yeah.
John's favorite one on here is, defecation.
Deification.
Ah, right.
Okay, right.
Deification.
Yeah, we're coming up with the alternative shun list.
Bring it in.
Have fornication and masturbation.
There you go.
Ejaculation.
Hallucination.
Yeah, all those things.
Yes,
Question from the chat real quick before we go on break. Does the puppet smoke the hops? Just a puppet.
I call it kill me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I've had a few of those hops in my days. It just kind of frills my felt and gives me a little headache. But Vinny, that's not all he smokes. I've seen him. Don't let him tell you any different. It's a crazy brewery over there. All right, that's all from me. Thank you.
All right, we got a caller, or they want to talk to us, Daniela? You're just chit-chatting over there. Okay, this is for the chat room. I'm going to give you guys a question, but I need Daniela to type it in over there. I want to do it before the break so that when we come back we can give another winner for the keg system from Northern Brewer at northernbrewer.com. Giving away a full keg system. We got 2 people left to register today. One of them's going to be for the chat room right now, and the other one is going to be the drunk of the week. So keep drinking out there. If you bought yourself a 6-pack of Chimay, then keep going.
Yeah, the big
they even
bottle.
sell those things in 6-pack, or they just got big bottles?
Yeah, they sell them 6-packs.
Okay.
Big bottles.
Keep drinking. You can drink your way right to a kegging system from Northern Beer if you Northern Brewer. Call in here and act real drunk.
So your inebriation will pay off.
That's right. If the one time it may ever do that for you.
Honey, I want this.
I guess I'm going to have to do the chat room qualify when we come back because Daniela's on the phone with a listener there. It's okay. I'll put in the question when we come back. It's going to be for the chat room. Get ready. Get your trivia brains on,
Get your
thinking
Google
caps, and we'll get you qualified for the kegging system. We're here with Vinnie Cilurzo from Russian River Brewing Company. We're going to keep discussing hops and the best places to grow them and all that kind of good stuff. How to best get the most out of your crop. Right when we come back.
And now, back to the Brewcasters.
Wow, Jay. That's pretty hardcore.
I went angry today.
Yeah, you did.
Vinnie Cilurzo from Russian River Brewing Company is in the studio with us. Hello. Northern Brewers giving away a kegging system.
Yes, they are.
And we're eating cheese and
drinking some
salami. All right. For the chat room, we're going to register somebody to win the kegging system for the Northern Brewer competition. Full kegging system. Daniela has the question in front of her. She will type it in to the chat room on my cue. And then the chat room, the first person to answer, you guys know the rules. Giving you guys a second here to join the chat room if you're not in there yet. You guys know the rules. It's the first person to answer. Daniela's going to see it right there. And that'll be the registration for our second person today. The third person is going to be the drunk of the week, which we'll do near the end of the show. So, Daniela, go ahead and type in the question, and then I'll announce the question after you tell me that it's typed in. Okay, it's in the chat room now. It's a good question, too. It's about Russian River. And the question is, when did Vinnie brew Russian River's first beer? The actual date of the first brewing for Russian River. And funny enough, Vinnie actually remembered the number himself. I asked him when he came in today without reference, and he knew the answer, which is good. I don't remember when I brewed my first beer, but then again, my first beer was crap.
No, it was forgettable.
Yeah, why would I remember that?
My first home brew was crap, too.
Was it?
Mine too.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I'd have to say my second one was actually worse than my first one. My first one was drinkable. It was my second one was undrinkable.
My first one was kind of drinkable, and I just kept trying to tell myself, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
We were so drunk, my roommates and I at the time. The 3 faces on the Damnation logo.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 old roommates who I homebrewed with, and we were so drunk when we were brewing it. We were like taking anything out of the kitchen cupboard and putting it in. Like, we were putting popcorn in and shit.
All right.
Chocolate.
Wow.
So.
We got a winner already.
Really?
Yeah, the first answer to come was the correct one.
And what's the correct answer?
The correct answer is 5/1/97, 1st of May in 1997.
May 1st, that's it.
And this goes, so Kid Hop has qualified now for the kegging system.
Nice. You can go ahead and give us a call if you like. We'll talk to you and see
what was his name?
888-401-BEER.
Kid Hop.
Kid Hop.
Kid Hop.
Kid Hop.
Nice.
Yes.
Wonder if he should play some Dr. Dre for him or
That's
something.
cute.
Look at his face.
You guys should see Vinny's face right now.
I'm a big Dre fan.
Yeah.
Hey, don't make fun of the guy, Vinny. Your beer's called Pliny, remember? All right?
I was a bigger fan with Dre in the NWA days, though.
Oh, is that right? You like the hardcore Dre?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Attaboy, Vinny. I can see you doing that, driving down the road in your Volvo or whatever you have. Booming.
Yeah.
The NWA.
And when that ran out, I'd have Eazy-E in. I know my rap.
Yeah, you do.
I know my 80s gangster rap.
I don't find that...
Or was that 90s?
Difficult to believe. It was both. Eazy-E was 80s. Dre was 90s.
Yeah.
NWA was still 80s.
Eazy-E, he died of AIDS, I think.
The hell do I know? He did. You're absolutely right. Not that that has anything to do with gangster
Has
rap.
nothing to do with it. But just a trivial, stupid thing that I remember.
Not only do you know your gangster rap, you know your gangster trivia.
Yeah. So.
What happened to Biggie?
Gangster,
tell us that
gangster
too?
hops. That's what I'm into. After our beer dinner at Monk's Cafe next week, we have the 3rd annual Lupulin Slam. It's 3 West Coast brewers against 3 East Coast brewers.
Okay.
And it's basically a reason for us 6 brewers to get together and just talk smack on each other while we present our beers and educate those at the Brick Skeller in DC.
It's great. It's like a roast.
So it kind of is. So we're it's 1-1. So this is the rubber match this year.
Okay.
So with the first year we lost to the East Coast. We lost to the Randall. Pretty much a device beat us.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
So,
really?
You know, that's kind of like a husband being replaced by a vibrator or something, you know?
Oh my God.
Hey, don't kid yourselves, guys. You'd all be replaced if,
So that hurt. So last year we came back, the West Coasters, and we kicked their ass. And, this year is the big rubber match. And, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do to top it, but,
Sudden death.
Yeah.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hey.
Uh-oh, hang on.
Guys.
Hang on, buddy. I gotta fix your connection here.
I'm going to fix you up.
You there?
I'm here.
Who are we talking to?
This is Kid Hop.
Hey, Kid Hop. You don't sound like
Detroit.
a kid. From Detroit, huh?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of phone are you calling me on?
A cell phone.
You got a landline?
No.
No. Me neither.
All right, well, talking with you.
Sorry, it sounds like you're in the bottom of a Budweiser can.
I might be.
Well, the good news is you are registered for the kegging system, so don't worry about that. Just send Danielle an email.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
He sounds like a speak and spell from when I was a kid.
Yeah, that is what it sounds like.
I remember those.
It was that wasn't even a real person. It was a speak and spell.
Yeah. Actually, we were talking about speak and spell the other day on the bottling line. You talk about anything on the bottling line.
Yeah.
After 10 hours of doing the same repetitive motion.
Yeah. Right.
And we have a new guy working with us. He's one of our regulars, and he is freaking hilarious. So he's just cutting jokes all day long. And we were getting less work done because I think we were laughing so hard, but it makes the day go by a little bit easier.
Right.
So,
I'm trying to make all kinds of things work over here, and none of it is. Wanted to play something for Kid Hop.
Yeah.
There. It's going to be on in the background while we keep talking hops, just for you,
All right.
Vinny.
Nice.
I talked to a guy from 5 Star who makes star sand, and it's phosphoric based. It's an acid, so it's phosphate based, and it's actually a good nutrient for hops. So if you want to recycle your star sand, pour it into your hop plants, and it's a good nutrient for your soil.
Good idea. I never know what to do with that stuff.
Yeah, pour it in your hop plants. Any old spent grain or hops, create a compost pile. Take a shovel, take that mulch out of the middle.
Okay.
Throw that on your hop plants. That's good nutrients. What else? Your yeast is a good zinc source for your hops, so throw your yeast on your hop plants.
Okay. Daniela, did you have something happening over there?
Yeah, some of the listeners seem to think that the year 1956 is somehow related to you, Vinny. Is that? But I told him, I said, you look so young. I don't know. You're not even alive then.
56?
Yeah.
Has nothing to do.
Has nothing to do with you or Russian River.
No.
All right.
No, 23 is our number. If you look at all the labels.
It's all 23?
Everything has a 23
Why
on it.
Why is that?
It's a memory of a friend of ours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a tribute to a friend who's
Great.
no longer with us, but 23 is also the most universal number used in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
why is that?
23 is our number. Why is it used most universally?
Is that a joke, or it really is?
No, it's true.
Is that Michael
It's
Jordan,
true.
or what?
It's just like, 2,500 coconut deaths a year falling on people's heads.
It's the same sort of thing.
So,
it's weird. I just find that kind of stuff strange.
But
it freaks me out.
We have a friend who's one of my original homebrew mates.
Homie?
And, he's one of my homies when we listened to Eazy-E and NWA. And 23 was his number. So in memory of Steve, I put it on all of our labels.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah. So you'll find it on any Belgian barrel age we do. There's a 23 somewhere in there.
Okay.
So it's no coincidence that the beatification will be aged for 23 months in the barrels too. So.
Whereas defecation happens an hour after you eat.
Exactly.
Deification.
Don't worry about that. All right, I got a few more questions here before we move on, just coming from the chat room.
They're flying out of that chat room.
How do you compensate for the weight of water in the hops versus dry hops?
You add about 6 times as much.
Okay.
So if you're going to add an ounce, add 6 ounces.
And you're talking about doing the wet hop beer.
Yeah, that's actually for making a wet hop beer. That's what that question is.
Okay,
so,
I'm going to hold that here. We'll come back to it. But it's basically adding.
Is that for both bittering and aroma?
We go 4 or 5, 6 times the amount on any point. And I've found that when you're making a wet hop beer, you can't add too many hops.
Well, you say that anyway.
No way. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I have hops on my wedding band, so.
Do you
I'm
really?
into hops. Yeah, I got hops on my wedding band. So,
your wife thinks you're a sicko.
Natalie has them too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true love.
It is true love.
That's nice.
So, yeah. It even wraps the right way. It goes clockwise.
Don't let him fool you. That's cannabis on his ring. I've seen it.
So we're bottling one day at Corbel, and the guy that helped me that worked in the cellar at Corbel, we got to know each other over time well enough to. He goes. I'd always be giving him my hop growing woes. Oh, the hops have spider mites right now, or the powdery mildew is a little strong, or whatever. And eventually he's like, "Can you keep a secret?" I'm like, sure. Because I have my cannabis card and I grow marijuana. And every time you say you have a trouble with spider mites or powdery mildew, I have the same thing.
Ah, yeah.
And hops are the closest relative to marijuana in the cannabis family. They're like 1 or 2 chromosomes away, and they're the only 2 plants in the cannabis family.
Yeah.
And it was great. So he would tell me, so do you have powdery mildew this week?
Right.
As a matter of fact, I do. You know what? So do I.
Yeah.
So
that's great. The parallel with the growers.
Well, it's great that he would even care.
Yeah.
He's that into it.
Oh, he was into it.
I kind of think
at $5,000 a pound.
Whoa,
he was into it.
Oh yeah,
he's doing well.
Are you kidding? Of course he is. I'm telling you, the BN should start doing that on the back end to support things going over here.
The Marijuana Network.
I'll be editing that out of the archive.
Support,
by the way.
nor do we condone this.
That will not be available via podcast after the show is over.
How do you actually prevent mildew?
Powdery mildew is. I don't know how to prevent it. The commercial growers up in Yakima just got some sort of chemical okayed that will do it, and it's hard to grow hops non-organically. We do it, but we lose a lot of hops along the way. One of the things, if your vines are wet, is to shake them off just to get the water to fall off. We went as far as to taking leaf blowers and blowing the water off to keep the water from setting into the vine.
You just like running those things, huh?
I know it's good to water a plant in the morning. That way you have the sun to dry it out during the day.
Yeah.
You don't want to oversaturate it. And also adding a tablespoon of baking soda per gallon of water with a spray bottle is a good preventative of powdery mildew.
Really?
Yes.
All right. You got to spray it on
remedies.
The whole plant.
Home remedies. Yeah. But you spray it on the leaves or shake it, prevents the mildew. So.
The thing about powdery mildew is that powdery mildew for roses is a different strain of powdery mildew for hops. So like when we had hops growing at our house when Natalie and I lived in Healdsburg, the roses, Natalie would be all freaked out because her roses were getting powdery mildew, and The first year she blamed it on the hops.
Right.
I corrected. I found out that they're
you
totally
had to go find
strains.
that out for her.
Yeah,
to get yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, I called Ralph at Hop Union. Like, help.
Yeah. I would like to be a fly on the wall during that conversation. Yeah. See, I told you it wasn't my hops.
little bit into my life,
or as long as it's not my hops.
So hops are more important.
How do I prepare my hops best for the second year's crop when growing hops in West Central Florida? But it's probably a standard for everybody.
Yeah, you want to get if you can find a fertilizer where the third number is high, which is the that's the potassium, if I remember correctly. Yeah, no, it's a phosphorus, isn't it? It's potassium is the third number because it's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. But any sort of fertilizer where all three numbers are high, that's a good fertilizer for root structure at the end of the year, and that's really what you're looking for because you want nitrogen, which is the first number at the beginning of the season, and then phosphorus when the vine is already totally vertical. It's gotten its 15 or 20 feet of height.
Yeah.
At that point, you want to use the phosphorus because the phosphorus will encourage flowering.
Okay.
And you'll literally get 2-3 times the amount of crop. And if you're growing on a small scale as a home brewer, spend the money and get the back guano. Back guano is miracle fertilizer. The stuff is like gold. It literally is like gold. It's $50 for 100 pounds, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's $50 for a 50-pound. It's $100 for a 50-pound bag.
Yeah.
I can fill the back of my truck with a yard of just regular compost from the gardening place for like $25.
Right.
And this stuff is $100 for 50 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a couple bucks a pound.
I have a hard time spending $100 on shit.
I
see what you're saying.
When you see the the result of the of the fertilizer, you'll be into it.
It's ultra high nitrates and phosphorus in the guano, right?
There's two types of back guano. There's high there's actually three, but you really only see high nitrogen and high phosphorus.
Okay.
You can actually get back guano at like like not Home Depot, but in our area we have these places called Yardbirds, which is
sure.
Well, they are Home Depot now because Home Depot just bought them. But,
there you go.
Anyways, but some pretty well known gardening centers will have back guano. You can get it online too, and in small amounts too. So it won't be, you don't have to buy a 50-pound bag like I buy it.
Right.
Is this your wife?
Everybody.
Yes.
We're
looking online at a website picture, Natalie. So
you post pictures of your wife online?
Oh yeah.
That's
good sales.
Vinnie'sDirtyMind.com.
Last night we were hanging out at the brewery. Natalie and I both finished work, and we a bunch of brewers in California play this game called Washers. If any of you have been to the Boonville Beer Festival, you usually see the NorCal and the San Diego crew playing Washers, and you set these boards up about 8 feet from each other. Each board has 3 holes in it, and you toss washers into it, and you play to 21. And so we do this a lot, in the back of the brewery. And when the doorman got off his shift last night, he comes in and he goes, this girl comes up to me and points to Natalie and goes, "Is she the owner?" Anthony goes, "Yeah." "Why?" And he goes, "Is she available?" And Anthony goes, "Well, what do you mean?" And she goes, "Well, does she, go?" And I'm like, and I don't know if is the international term for lesbian or what, but and Anthony's like, "I don't know what you mean."
Yeah,
and wanting to make sure, and she's like, "Well, does she like girls?" And Anthony's like, "No, she's married, I don't think she does, at least."
He should at least ask.
So this guy comes in and he's like, "So does she, And the guy's like, "I don't know what that was." What are you talking about?
He should have at least asked her.
So... Yeah, Anthony should have gone upstairs and
be like, "Hey, do you?"
Yeah, especially since we were at the Black Cat the night before.
Yeah, I saw her there.
Maybe that's where she was seen.
Well, the bartender at the Black Cat was pretty good looking. So,
more the merrier.
Should we plant our hops facing northeast or southwest?
Always facing east.
Yeah. Aren't they like circular, so they're not really facing?
Yeah,
any direction?
I've always we planted them going. Let's see, we planted them our rows north to south.
Okay,
but the fact of the matter is, I don't know if it really matters because they're a circular vine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You want to maximize your sunlight, as I think all that matters.
Is he talking about planting on the south-facing wall, or
that's probably what they
oriented?
They probably mean a south-facing wall, so that or maybe what he's asking or she's asking is to where they want to plant them for the maximum sunlight,
right?
Which someone just said it, maximum sunlight, and that's going to be different for everyone because. Granted, we're not growing these as commercial growers, so your best place around your house
is your best place.
Is your best place, and it may not be ideal to be a commercial grower.
Okay.
But one thing I would say is when you are planting your hops, the first year, first off, put 2 rhizomes on each hill. That'll give you a much better chance of success rate.
Okay.
1 rhizome, if it dies.
Yeah.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
But if you have 2 rhizomes there and one dies, the second one still may take. If they both take, you just have that much stronger of a vine, and the 2 rhizomes will just kind of meld together. And then something that we do is the first year, we only train one, the technical term is bind, but 1 vine up. And then the second year, take 2 vines up, and the third year, take 3 vines up.
Okay.
Because if you only take 1 vine up the first year, the hop plant is going to put more energy towards root structure and root growth.
Okay.
And that's what you want the first year.
Now that's good advice because I had even heard, that you could go to max 3, in the first year even. But it makes sense that the root structure is really important because you're not getting your best yield in the first year anyway.
No. In fact, if you're patient, I would even consider dropping the fruit or the hop cones the first year too.
Okay.
If you're really into this and you've got patience and you know you're going to have these in the future, drop the cones the first year because the hops will then the whole plant will put more energy towards root structure.
Right.
You don't have to do this. We got cones off our first year.
Okay, but you could put it back.
You could potentially do that.
If hops are to beer as grapes are to wine, you could really take from the principles of vine growing, and you're not getting wine
for 3
out
to
of
4
your
years.
vines for and some breweries 5 to 10 breweries, wineries, sorry, like 5 to 10 years. I mean, they're really growing old stock vines, and even if you can get wine out of a 5-year vine. You're not getting amazing wine until it's older than 10 years. And I'm not saying that that's the principle for hops, but I think if it goes with the point that Vinny's making that if you can be patient and drop your first round of hops, you got to think all of those nutrients that would normally be going into the buds are going into your root system and staying within the plant rather than going out into the hop buds, which are going to be picked off.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And you'll figure that you can get in a mature vine, you can get 2 or 3 pounds of hops. And you're gonna need for a wet hop beer, that's for an ideal super strong vine. I would consider as a home brewer or home hop grower that you're gonna maybe get in its peak a pound per vine though, just because you're not gonna have the most ideal.
The Vinnie puppet's taunting
right
you
on size
still.
taunting me.
Yeah.
But figure a pound per hill, as we say, or per vine. And the first year, if you are going to keep the hops, you're only going to get a 1/4 pound probably off the vine. It's not going to be that many, maybe 1/2 pound.
Okay.
But over time, you can get it up to 1 pound, 2 pounds per vine, even 3.
All right.
So, but you at this point, you're more like a winemaker. So winemakers, they have to deal with growing grapes, and they're as much salt of the earth, as the farmer is themselves.
Right.
Where the brewers just pick up the phone and call Hop Union or their malt company or whatever.
Yeah.
And go, I need 50,000 pounds of malt, or I need, 50 pounds of this hop or that hop.
Right.
So it really is critical that I think homebrewers and brewers really understand what they're doing here.
Yeah.
And that, this is an agricultural product.
Absolutely.
So.
I got a note here from Daniela right now. Who gave me this Australia? Is this Oz? Oh, sorry. Yeah, is that Oz?
Yeah. It came from a couple of people, actually, I think.
See, this is why I asked if it was the toilet bowl myth with the hops.
What are they saying down in Australia?
I knew they'd go for that.
They're saying that hops, they grow clockwise in Australia.
And by the way, the toilet bowl is not a myth either. It's a fact.
Well, but he's saying that they don't grow counterclockwise.
Everything I've never
but
been
the toilet bowl is a fact.
It's
I've
a
seen
fact.
it. On the southern hemisphere, it goes the other way around than it does
They just
here
make
on the
them
northern
different.
hemisphere.
Aren't they skewed it the other
See,
way?
I've heard that it just has to do with the plumbing, like
It
the
does.
actual,
No.
like the plumbing right there beneath the toilet.
No, it has to do with the rotation of the Earth.
No, but the Coriolis.
No,
effect-
Dr. Scott.
Okay, I'm gonna get into that.
Aren't they? Actually, if you go to our forum, there's this giant discussion about this Coriolis effect.
Yes, it does.
But aren't all the Australians convicts?
That's a fact.
And everyone knows you can't trust convicts.
So how do we know that it really? I've never been to Australia, so I don't know. But everything I've read does say that the hops grow the other direction,
And that they're all convicts.
He's full of shit. He's never read anything in his life. I grow all the hops out there. This is the Vinnie puppet.
But
by
I
the
have
way.
no idea.
You got sort of an important caller here on the phone.
Uh-oh.
I hope it works.
So do I.
Caller, you're on the air. Oh, it's Sean. Sean, are you
Sean
on?
and Roger?
Are you on your cell phone?
We're on our cell phones.
Yeah, you
I hear Bob is drinking one of your the others, and I think Roger's sitting in his car right now, like looking at his crotch and his dog and seeing everybody.
All right, hang on. I'm gonna have to translate because I know it's not coming through on the other end. If you can get to a landline, Sean, you're gonna got to get me on that.
I think what he said was that I'm in Roger's crotch.
I think it was something. It had something to do with I'm in Roger's crotch while he's drinking Pliny the Elder.
No.
Sounds good.
Sean's drinking Pliny the Elder, looking at Roger's crotch.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Coming loud and clear. I can actually tell you what's happening.
That's Roger.
That's
I
definitely
know Roger's voice.
Yeah, I know you can hear us, but we can't hear you. It sounds like you're at the bottom of a well.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
What are you, the Verizon guy?
It's the network.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
It's the network. Yeah.
You're gonna you gotta call me from a landline, man.
We'll call you from a landline. I just wanted to say if I can get through to you, but I just want to make sure that the Vinnie puppet was there.
The Vinnie puppet is here.
Here and present.
It's here.
Yeah.
I've met him already, Sean.
The Vinnie puppet, he misses you, man.
Yeah.
He was hoping you were going to be here.
What did you do to him last week? Did you like stroke him or something?
Yeah.
He felt the felt.
Go into that. Your dog wouldn't approve of that.
Yeah. Sean, try to get to a landline and give me a call.
All right, buddy.
Thanks,
Pull
dude.
over in that nice neighborhood you're in.
All right, Vinny. Take care.
See you, Sean.
They set up a phone conference with Roger, so they're not in the same room. I think.
They're on like several
he
phones.
set up like a phone conference for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and Sean said it was at Barclays, I think he
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, they got to do the landline.
What's going on?
I think, you know what we're going to do? We're changing the name of the Sunday show, which doesn't really have a name anyway. It's the Sean O'Sullivan and Roger from Drake's show. That's what we do now.
Kidnap every show.
Did they bring beer last week?
They did. Actually, right behind Brad there's some of Drake's. I didn't refrigerate it.
Well, they can come back then.
Yeah. There you go. Now we talked about fertilizer. I want to get I want to get past from the growing and get on to it's grown. But just real quick, this question was, the best type of soil is, sandy, clay, etc. We were kind of saying that it should be a lot of fertilizer and not your regular soil, right?
Yeah. Sand isn't going to work. Clay isn't going to work. The best thing is, just go to the gardening center and grab some sort of potting soil and mix it in with what you have so it can acclimate in.
Yeah.
You want it to be somewhat well drained, so that hops take a lot of water, but it also needs to drain off because you don't want that rhizome to be sitting.
It goes with
in
all
water.
good vegetation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once your hops are in the ground, you figure out some sort of trellis system. And a good trellis system, if you don't have a wall to plant them against, it has a fence or whatnot.
Okay.
Bamboo poles work really well.
Okay.
Which are cheap, inexpensive, you can buy. But you could also plant them in a circle and do a teepee.
Okay.
And I've seen that done, and that's a really cool way, and it's
seen
really
that
cool in a backyard.
And it's awesome because you're getting an extra, you can get an extra 3 or 4 feet just by having teepeed it because it's
Exactly.
growing. It's still going up, but it's also
At an angle.
horizontal. It's at the angle.
Yeah.
And you can get a lot of hops in it. You can get a lot of vines going.
You can get a lot, yeah. And we briefly talked about watering earlier, but we water 40. Our optimal, the best years we've ever had was when we've watered. We use drip.
Okay.
It's a drip emitter that's a gallon per hour.
Oh, okay.
We would go 48 hours a week. So 2 days we would leave the water on. So
Okay.
2 of the 7 days a week we were dripping a gallon per hour.
Okay.
So hops take an insane amount of water. Up in Yakima, they've just started to grow with drip.
Oh,
in
right.
the past, they would do all flood irrigation. It would
Okay.
all be on the canals, and they would pump it in, and they would have little troughs, cut into the dirt
Gotcha.
on both sides of the hop vines and on the rows, and they would just flood it. And
I heard
it
a
would
good
absorb in.
I heard a good rule of thumb for your home hops, and I actually heard this from Regan over at B3, which could be good or bad. I don't know.
I can't wait to hear it.
Let's hear
But
that.
I heard a good rule of thumb is 2 gallons a day. If you can, and
in the morning, yes.
Sure. And also, like Vinny said, before these things have taken hold, you want to have planted them after the first rain because you don't want them getting all soggy and moldy under there. Yeah. But once they're sprouting, and I found this, I planted mine in, the clay type pots, right?
Yeah, the terracotta.
Which are, they drain just awesome. They just got holes in the bottom, and I used all fertilized soil type of deal, just regular potting soil, threw some Miracle Grow in there. I couldn't overwater them because I guess in some ways I was wasting the nutrients. It would kind of leak out the bottom with the water, but because it drained so well in a pot, because you got holes in the bottom, you don't have to worry about adding too much water. You do got to worry about too little, of course. Yeah. So I would stand out there and go, you're keeping it moist. Yeah. And I would do 2 gallons a day after Regan told me that, and mine worked out just awesome. If you do have to measure it and you want to use that as a rule of thumb, yes, direct sunlight. If you do have to use it as a rule of thumb, it's easy to measure because you can grab your milk, use a gallon of milk that's obviously been emptied and fill that up twice and dump that in there. Got a caller for me?
Another issue is putting them in pots. If you ever think you want to move them, or get rid of them because they do proliferate quite a bit, you may not ever get rid of them once you plant them in the ground. So if you're thinking that you want to move, you don't want to have hops anymore, put them in the cut up barrel. Put them in a terracotta tile.
And that's exactly why I did it, because I knew I wasn't going to have a good trellis system for this year, and I was going to have to move them, and that's why I put them in the pot. So if you don't own your property, you're a renter, anything like that, go ahead and put them in the pots.
I like to drive down the freeway and just toss rhizomes out and hope that they take.
Yeah, Johnny Hopseed.
I'm going to leave my mark on Northern California.
Caller, you're on the air.
Vinnie Hopseed.
Caller.
Hello.
Who are we talking to, Oz?
It's Oz. Hey, guys.
Hey, Oz.
Hey, buddy. How are you? Man, it's a bad phone day for me. I gotta apologize.
It's the Vinnie Puppet.
Hang
I
on.
just want to know, Vinnie Puppet, where's the hand?
Oh, they've been all over Vinnie.
Hey, listen. Don't act like you're not married. You've had a hand up your ass telling you what to do a few times. Don't make fun of me because I'm a puppet. Buddy.
So is it true the hops grow clockwise?
They do, yeah. When you said they grow anti-clockwise, I thought,
I don't believe you. I'm calling Mythbusters, and I'm going to have them test this out.
Yeah.
You ever seen Mythbusters?
Australia.
You ever seen Mythbusters on Discovery? I love those guys. They'll like blow up a porta potty or
anything they can.
Recently, they blew up a cement mixer.
Cement mixer.
That was awesome. There was nothing left when it was all done.
The thing is, though, that Oz, he lives out in the outback, and they don't even have television there. So he's never.
You're going to be like that American skier that's going to be at the Olympics, next month or whenever the Olympics are.
Never seen TV.
Never seen TV, and he's a total renegade. And they're asking him on 60 Minutes last week. So, are you saying that you're not going to go out and ski hungover again? Hungover? He goes, hungover? It's really hard to ski when you're wasted. And then they go to this picture of him skiing down a hill because he lost a ski.
Yeah.
And he's on one ski. And this is the world champion. This is who's representing America at the Olympics.
Right.
His name's Bodie. I think Bodie Miller, maybe? Bodie something or other.
I don't respect anybody whose name is Bodie. I apologize if I have a listener out there named Bodie. Call me up and plead your case, but I just think it starts you out as being a dumb person right off the bat. I think your parents set you up to have a rough life if they named you Bodie.
You'll change after you see him ski.
This
guy's becoming my hero.
He's good, huh?
The fact that he's skiing world championship ski races, wasted.
Oz, you gotta send us a picture of the clockwise hops, I think.
Oh, well, I'll do that. Hey, we had a guy in the last lot of the Olympics, one of the cyclists, when you asked what his diet was and what his training was, it was a pack of cigarettes and a six-pack of beer.
Nice.
I used to do a water speed skiing. It's big in Australia. I don't know if you've ever seen it out there too. All the world champions in this sport. It's called marathon speed skiing. They go like 64. Yep. They go 64 miles, and it's a marathon race. So they ski behind a boat in the ocean. It's a 64-mile race. The winners of these things finish it in like 52 minutes. So they're hauling.
Wow. Oh,
right?
yeah.
Well, they have a couple of these races out here in Southern California I used to go to. And all the Americans they're carb loading, they're eating their macaroni the night before and they're going to bed at 7. I was drinking with all the Australians who are racing and winning all these races are up just pounding beer all night and getting hammered and waking up at 6 a.m. and racing for 64 miles in open ocean.
You wouldn't want to do that shit sober, though, would you?
No, that's what I'm thinking. You got sharks out there and all sorts of stuff.
Go out and cruise around Catalina and back.
Yeah, that's the race. That's exactly the race. You go out to a buoy in Catalina, turn around and come back.
Yeah, it's choppy out there, and there are sharks.
Yeah, we lost a lot,
too.
and it's because our skier was a pussy. He wasn't. He was my brother, by the way. But you got to have,
because he's more into the food instead of the beer.
That's right.
What do you think of the beer, Jonathan?
You need a cigarette in one hand and a beer in the other, Oz. I'm with you.
Hoppy.
Yeah, it's hoppy.
Go ahead, Daniela. Sorry.
Yeah, what are we drinking?
We're drinking Pliny the Younger.
Okay.
Is that what I had in this glass here?
Yeah.
Very
sweet. Younger. Hoppy,
very
big.
sweet.
Yeah, very sweet. It balances the hops quite well.
I got to say, I'm tasting something in there though, Vinny. Like a rubber glove type of like a latex flavor. I'm serious.
You dry out with condoms.
I like the hops and all that, but there's maybe it's not rubber glove. Maybe it's like a plastic bucket type of, like drinking water out of a hose type of flavor.
That's the hop. That's when you have put so much hops into the beer.
Okay.
So.
Because I've had your Pliny, and I'm a fan. I love it.
Yeah. Younger has so much hops in it.
Okay.
And that's actually a trait that you get on a super hopped up beer. We call this a triple IPA.
Oh, okay.
That you end up with so many hops that one of the kind of, I don't know if off flavor is the word, just because it's not technically an off flavor, but it's just one of the characteristics you get from so much hops.
Okay.
So that you have answered the question. You can put too many hops in a beer.
No,
he will
never admit to that.
I'll actually answer that because even though I'm noting that flavor, I have not slowed down my drinking of the beer. It's still good. I just happen to notice the.
No, I think the hoppiest beers I've had in America are probably this. Some of Pizza Port's beers.
Okay.
The Dogfish 90 and 120 minute, and everything I have that are just so over the top hoppy, and malt is almost nil.
Mm-hmm.
That plastic quality is there.
Okay.
So,
hey Oz, you got a giveaway for us?
I have, yeah. You want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Why not?
Last week, was it last week or the week before? I'm sorry.
No, last week.
It was last week. Crotchrot, one of our other longtime listeners, good guy, and you can go to crotchrot.com. That's with a K, by the way. It's not a porn site if you're worried.
And 2 T's.
Not yet, anyway. Crotchrot posted his all grain video. So for you extract brewers out there who wanted to check out how to do all grain, you can go to crotchrot.com with a K. And he did a video just kind of instructing on how to do it. While Oz was in the chat room during that thing, he won a $20 gift certificate to Beer, Beer, and More Beer, which he would like to donate to one of our American listeners. So we're going to do that today. And Oz has come up with the whole deal. It's a good game, good question. You will have to have been a long-time listener, or at least to have really paid attention to all the archives. So I don't know about you, Oz. I'm curious if anyone's going to get this.
I know one person knows the answer, but he's been excluded.
He's excluded. He's not allowed to answer. Crotchrot, you are not allowed to answer this question. Shit.
Dead air.
Well, I'm just thinking that... I don't know if we're going to get the answer.
We're probably not.
I'm thinking
So back to the hop top.
I'm thinking I screwed it up too.
Nice lead in.
I've got a little segue into how do you prevent pests?
No, we're not changing subjects because we're still on the same thing. Okay. I got to finish it. I'm just wondering how.
Yeah, that's
going
inside your head right now.
All right. I got to reword. I'm rewording it in my head because I would have screwed it up. What was the first prize ever given away by the Brewing Network? The first thing that we ever give away, and you could add to that by naming the person who won the first prize that we ever gave away. Does that work, Oz?
It wasn't me with the T-shirt.
What's it? And it wasn't Oz, yeah.
With that T-shirt. Did you ever get the T-shirt?
No. Have you sent them?
Yeah, they're on the way.
Yeah, sure.
Next week, Oz.
Vinnie, there's a pile of T-shirts in the corner over there. Just throw another one on top for me, will you?
This came up last time I was here.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember the T-shirt conversation.
Next week, Oz.
Did I end up getting that right, Oz? I got it right? The question?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
The check's in the mail.
All right. So the question is, and you're going to win a $20 gift certificate to More Beer. The question is, what was the first prize that the Brewing Network ever gave away? And you could show what a loyal fan you are by also naming the person who we gave it to. And so give that a go. You can call us up. You can type it in the chat room to Danielle if you happen to be there, however you want to do it. And we'll give you $20 courtesy of Oz and morebeer.com. So, cool. Sure. Thanks, Oz.
No worries.
Which direction does your toilet flush?
Anti-clockwise.
It's counterclockwise.
Yeah, we've a bit of an argument about it at the moment. A lot of well, it's true. They're saying that it's not the Coriolis effect more than the design of the toilet. For the effect to actually work, it needs to be a perfect cylinder. And I actually found that out with my Whirlpool. I made one of Jamil's Whirlpool water chillers.
Yeah.
And I've got it going clockwise, and it's a lot slower than when it turns when I turn it into the other direction and make it go anti-clockwise.
So it is
doubles the speed going anti-clockwise.
So it is. It's the plumbing you're saying. It's not just the.
No. Well, it needs to be a perfect. It's the Earth's rotation, so whatever the fluid's in needs to be a perfect cylinder.
It's the cylinder or the container that it's in. It needs to all help.
Yeah, the
all
shape
that.
of it.
Yeah.
Maybe your ground where you grow your hops is slanted the wrong way.
You're pointing east and west.
I planted the hops.
Now I'm just yanking your chain, but.
All right, guys.
Vinny yanking your chain.
Thanks, Oz.
Cheers, Oz.
All right, we'll talk to you later, buddy.
Righto.
All right, see ya. Sorry, I'm cutting off because I fucked up that question. I'm thinking now.
Yeah.
I totally screwed it up. He sent it to me. He sent it to me the wrong way too, though. Now I'm thinking, and I agree with it because my memory was bad at the moment. It's not the first prize we gave away. It's the first shirt we ever gave away. First prize we ever gave away, because our first guest was More Beer. Mm-hmm. And they let us give away gift certificates. So, did anybody answer that?
Yeah, we have like 27 answers for T-shirts.
But that's not true. That's incorrect. If anybody answered that the first thing we gave away was a gift certificate, I'll give them a prize. Because that's how I asked the question, and the first thing we ever gave away was a gift certificate.
Boogater says that. Yeah, somebody said a gift certificate.
Yeah. If somebody said that, the first person who said it, I'll give them a prize. Oz is $20 to More Beer. It's a different question, though. It's what's the first T-shirt we ever gave away? Because that was different.
All right. So that's a new question now for the $20 from Oz.
Yeah.
What is the first T-shirt we ever gave away?
Yeah. If you can answer that, then I'll give you the $20. If you answered gift certificate in the room there, I'll give you a prize. So I won't welch. Give you a prize.
And if they received it.
Yeah, if they ever got it too. Okay, John, now go ahead. I'm sorry. I needed to finish that. I just want to make sure I got it right.
Oh, it's okay.
So go right ahead.
We were talking about, how do you prevent pests growing on hops?
Yeah. One of the simple things, especially if you want to stay organic, is just the safer soaps that you can buy at any gardening center. And they don't stay on for a long period of time because the heat diminishes the soaps.
Yeah.
But they're a good organic, and you're not going to be putting some crazy, DuPont chemical on the vines. Mm-hmm. So the safer soaps work well.
Non-detergent.
I
had a little trouble with the organic soaps.
Yeah, they don't stick around for a long time. The main problem you're going to have in a warm climate is spider mites.
Yeah.
And they're just a tiny little, like about an eighth of the size of a housefly. You can barely see them.
Yeah.
But powdery mildew, you probably won't have if you're not in an area where it already wasn't once before. In Sonoma County, that's one of the things that drove the hop growing out of the area back in the late 40s. And it's come back now, as we see it in the hop yard a little bit. So, and I should tell, I didn't finish the hop yard story, that after we left Corbel, I needed a place to put our hop yard. And it's a 1/4 acre, and Brian Hunt, who owns Moonlight Brewery here, needed to plan a hop yard for his new location for the same reasons that I mentioned earlier in the show about the county making you have a hop yard to be an agricultural product.
Right.
If you weren't in the city. So Brian and his 2 daughters and Natalie and I went out over the course of a couple months and lifted the whole hop yard out, took out the trellis and reinstalled it at Brian's new location.
Okay.
And dug out all the hops and moved them over. And so we actually grow our hops now with Moonlight Brewery.
Okay.
We started to talk at the beginning. There aren't many breweries that do this.
Yeah.
And in Sonoma County, we do it along with Moonlight. So we split the hops. Berry Public has a hop yard growing. I think it's in a little bit of disarray right now, but I know they plan to pick it back up again.
Get it back together.
So and then Sierra Nevada now has 2 or 3 acre hop yard. So I used to be able to say that I had the largest hop yard in California, albeit a 1/4 acre, and
not anymore.
Not anymore. Sierra Nevada's outdone me. So, and you can't get in a hop pissing match with Sierra Nevada.
You'll be there soon, Vinny.
When they've got another 30 acres to move into. So, but one of the things I was thinking about in the last break was once the vines have hit full growth and maybe you've fertilized with a high phosphorus fertilizer, the bottom 4 feet of the vine, it's a good idea to strip the vine of all the leaves. And that will prevent a lot of festering of bugs and mildew from happening. You can further then, once you've picked your hops, if you're growing them outside of a planter and harvest is done, you can do one of 2 things. You can cut the vine. You can do one of 3 things. You can cut the vine back all the way to where there's nothing, just a stub in the ground. You can leave the 3 feet, 4 feet out of the ground, and that will continue to promote photosynthesis, and the vine will then store up energy for the next year.
Okay.
Or you can take the vine and bury it, and you can then, that's how you propagate rhizomes.
Oh, okay.
And that's all the hop growers are doing is they take a 3 foot of vine and bury it.
Gotcha.
And then let it winter, and they come back in February or March and they dig it up and the rhizomes are there.
No kidding.
And that's how you do rhizomes. It's very simple to build rhizomes.
Okay.
So.
What if I just left my vine? I didn't cut it. I didn't even cut my crop. I just left it there the whole time. I haven't looked at it or touched it or done a thing to it.
Just in case you might have done that.
Just in case that would have happened to
Hypothetically
somebody.
speaking.
Yeah. Then what am I looking at for next year?
If there's a frost, the vine will just die.
Okay.
And eventually it'll crack at the bottom. I've done that before where we've left a vine hanging. At least in our climate it did.
So if I had hypothetically done that, my rhizome is still alive down there?
Yeah.
Cool.
And most likely it probably would have.
I did that too.
Would have.
Hypothetically, of course.
The vine probably would have broke at some point.
Okay.
And maybe even pushing out, it maybe would have broken away.
Okay.
And because it becomes so brittle, as long as you have a frost.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Okay. And then, after watering through the year, fertilize, you're going to harvest in probably mid to late August.
Okay.
Hop growers in Yakima will harvest in September. But if you're going to be making a wet hop beer, you probably want to be looking to harvest a little sooner than you would for traditional hop purposes, because if you follow the train of thought that I do, that you actually have better green wet hop character when the vine's a little bit under mature.
Okay.
So
can you give us some visual and like feeling cues of when exactly is the right time?
Yeah, there is a great hop grower who grows for Yakima Chief, which is another one of the hop purveyors that we use. Hop Union and Yakima Chief are the 2 primary hop growers for the craft beer industry. SS Steiner, I guess, is a third. But both Hop Union and Yakima Chief are both co-op family-owned growers where there's like 10, 12, 13, 14 growers involved that also own a part of the company. So the hop growers have a vested interest in the sales of the hops and that sort of thing. So it's really cool. So one of the guys that works with Yakima Chief taught me a lot. His name was Gannon, and he gave me great great ideas and great information on the poor man's way of how to tell a ripe hop. The first is just looking at the cone itself. You pick a cone off, and if you pull one of the brackets off, and you're going to have, or just that's a technical term I guess for the leaf or the on the vine, it's going to be almost a translucent. You can almost be able to hold it up to the light and see right through it.
You're talking about one of the leaves on the hop.
Off the hop itself.
Okay.
Yeah, not the actual leaf on the vine.
But the bud.
Is it dry at that point, or?
Yeah. No, it's very, it is a bud.
Right? It's a bud.
It's a bud.
I mean, I'm sorry that it sounds the same, but it is.
You could also call it a petal, like a petal from a rose or a flower.
Sure, but bud's cooler.
You hold it to a light, and the petal off the bud is going to be almost clear. You're not clear, but translucent. You're going to be able to see through it. It needs to be a deeper green.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Wait, so you don't want to see through it?
Yeah, you want it to be a deeper green color.
All right.
The second thing would be a touch, feel, smell. It's going to be very sticky from the lupulin glands. The smell is going to be almost musty smelling in a positive hop way. You can also take a whole hop cone or bud.
Correct.
And rip it in half.
Yeah.
And inside you'll see the lupulin glands. The lupulin is the pollen inside the hops, and they're it's very small yellow balls of lupulin, and when they start to bind together and they become almost the size of the end of a ballpoint pen, then that's another sign of ripeness.
Okay.
The absolute best sign of ripeness, if you can't take your hops and send them to a lab, like they would up in Yakima, is to take the hop cone. It's got a pointy end. Hold on to the pointy end, and then grab the petals or the leaves and start pulling them back. I'd say start fluffing them back, but I think that's a porn term.
Fluffing?
Get
the fluffer.
In fact, I was thinking we need to hire ourselves a fluffer for the studio. But go on.
So as you pull
What the fuck's wrong with you?
Oh, I just was thinking.
You're such a douchebag. Seriously.
I just
Get out.
Just meant that it would add to the show.
Leave. Get yourself a job.
And you off.
Get the quality guests in here.
Yeah, exactly. I think Vinny's just going to keep coming back for nothing.
So as you start pulling the petals back or the leaves, they'll actually start to fall off. If they all fall off in the first pull, that's the sign of a ripe hop for a hop grower.
Oh, all right.
But from a home brewer standpoint that wants to make a wet hop beer,
on
a couple pulls back, going counterclockwise, so pulling the petals or the leaf away from the direction that they grow, on about the second or third pull, usually a couple of the petals will fall off, and to me that's the perfect sign of ripeness.
Okay.
If you're doing this exercise and it's taken 4, 5, 6 times to get even one of the petals to fall off, the hops aren't ripe yet.
It's not ready.
They're underripe still.
That's a very basic and easy way.
That is the absolute best way, and when I'm out in the hop yard, I use that practice to tell how the hops are ripe, because we can't send the hops off to the lab and then they dehydrate out the moisture and they take a dry weight and then they can figure out the alpha acid, and that's how they do it.
Yeah.
They use a lab to do this.
Gotcha.
And I've been at Hop Union during harvest, and they will get like 15, 20, 30 samples in a day, and they've got these little dryers, much like I talked about earlier, made out of a chest of drawers, except theirs are, they build them themselves. But they just have a heater on the bottom with screens. And usually it's Ralph's wife and daughter doing most of the tests.
Oh, okay.
And even hop growers that don't have their hops contracted with the Hop Union will still use Hop Union for
testing
to get the alpha acids right.
Now, even before you get to the point where you want to pull off one of those buds and do all, these kind of tests, you can do a squeeze test, right? Because if it really squeezes like nothing, like there's nothing there, because you can get a pretty good sized bud and it's not anywhere near ready, you can squeeze right through it. It's soft. You want kind of a little firmness to it, right?
I have in my notes that the hop grower told me he used the word limp.
Okay, if it goes
That's
limp.
when they need a fluffer.
Exactly.
It's funny how worried you have to be about what words you use when you come in the studio.
I'm worried about that, yeah.
So his email was, as I was reading it earlier, it was like, if the hop is limp,
it's
like,
then take a little blue pill, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine for 6 hours.
But yeah,
hypothetically,
just like you were saying, you can squeeze it, and if it doesn't bounce back, if it stays,
don't bother.
God.
You can rub it a little bit, and if nothing happens, Keep rubbing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at a very young age, you can take the very small hop cones and put them on salad. I'm changing the total direction of the conversation.
I thought we were talking about the Catholic Church there for a second. I didn't know what was going on.
A little between the cheek and gums, too.
I will tell you that it amazes me how similar this plant, and it's a joke and not a joke at the same time. It is amazing how similar this plant is to the cannabis plant. I mean, hypothetically, if say 5 years ago I used to be into the cannabis plant, I would tell you that all of the same things that go for those buds are the same with the buds in a hop plant. It's a different shape, it's a different thing. One's legal, one's illegal, whatever. The point is, it really is. It's interesting as far as a species that the two are the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, as far as how to tell if they're done, when it's right, and don't know why I felt the need to say that. I just thought it was
it's true though. And,
it's a qualifier.
I would, like I said earlier, I would highly suggest you get a very top quality fertilizer.
Yeah.
When we switched over to using back guano in the hop yard, this is when we were out at Corbell, we saw the hop production go from, each vine doubled or tripled its hops that it gave us. And in fact, that year at the GABF, the Great American Beer Festival, the night before the GABF, there's a brewers only party and judges and media. And I saw one of the Ralphs from Hop Union talking to Michael Jackson, the beer writer, and they flagged me over and they were drinking our Hop Time Harvest Ale, our wet hop beer. And Michael said, I'm very interested to talk to you, but I can't talk to you now because the room was very loud and Michael he's got a hearing problem in one of his ears. So the next day he was waiting at our booth, his first day of the GABF. He never wrote about the Hop Time, but it was a great conversation. And he told me a funny story about how sometimes when he gives his speaking engagement, he will, tell a story about the most unique or boring thing about a different country's beer. So he talked about England, which is his country, and he goes, England, someone once asked me what's the most unique thing about English beers, and he goes, well, really, they're not that interesting. They pretty much use the same few malts. They use like two or three hop varieties, Fuggles, Kent Goldings.
Yeah.
And then, he talks about someone else saying, what about Belgium? He goes, well, the Belgians have some of the most unique beers in the world, but I remember being at a brewery where they ferment up in the attic. And their biggest problem was the bats that were flying around in the attic would take a crap and their shit would fall into the beer.
Oh, right.
So I had told him about the back guano and how we used it and how it made such a profound difference and how the quality of the hops and the yield we got. And after telling me that story about the English and the Belgian brewers having to deal with the bats, he goes, now this is the first time that they've ever heard bat shit made a beer better.
Yeah, because he's got a problem over there.
But
we got to take a quick break. You got some more time for us, Vinny? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You got to sober up anyway. Yeah, drive home. We're going to finish his beers before he leaves. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take just a real quick break. Another just a one-song dealie. And when we come back, we're going to register our final person for the kegging system for the Northern Brewer at northernbrewer.com, giving away a full kegging system. We're going to take the Drunk of the Week. So your time has come. You've been hanging out. You've been sitting there with us. You've been having a good time. You've been drinking your beer. You need to call in and be the Drunk of the Week. And Danielle is angry at me about the fluffer thing, I can tell. She's giving me dirty looks. But what are you going to do?
It's just training.
It's life. It's life on the radio, toots. That's not going to help my cause at all. So, Drunk of the Week, we'll take your call when we come back. And I got an announcement to make, 2 announcements to make as well that are going to be good fun. And I don't know. I think we got a lot more hop information to get to also. We've gone past how to grow it, how to keep it, when to harvest it,
how to fluff
it. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to do a wet beer with it, a wet hopped beer, right? Okay, we'll be right back. It's the Brewing Network.
Coming in January, the Brewing Network is proud to present The Beer Style Show. Hosted by the most award-winning homebrewer ever, Jamil Zainasheff. Each show will give you the best in understanding BJCP style guidelines.
And you got to honestly look at it, try it, and evaluate it and say, no, it's actually, a better beer in this style. And that's, again, goes to, understand the BJCP style guide.
Competition advice.
One of the things in competition that you have to do is you have to brew a good beer, a really good beer. So the bigger the competition, the better beer you have to brew as a base.
Experienced homebrew tips.
One of the things about process, a lot of these beers, mash temp is a difference of just a few degrees one way or another, but it makes, a dramatically different beer.
The science behind the process.
What you want to pitch is 1 million cells per milliliter of wort per degree Plato.
And Brewcaster John co-hosting is sure to keep Jameel on his toes.
Because I believe that you need temperatures to help grow you.
I think John, you could make even better beer.
It's on, Jameel.
The Beer Style Show with Jameel Zainasheff and John Plisse. Coming to the Brewing Network in 2006. Stay tuned to www.thebrewingnetwork.com for details. You're listening to Three Guys.
Excuse me, what about me?
Sorry. You're listening to Three Guys and One Girl use a radio show as an excuse to drink more beer. The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Vinnie Cilurzo from Russian River Brewing Company in the studio with us today. Today's show is being brought to you courtesy of Northern Brewer at northernbrewer.com, and they are giving away a full kegging system to one lucky listener. We're gonna give it away the first week of February. We're registering 3 listeners a week all through January. How many shows we got left in January, John? 2 shows.
Chris White next week and to be announced the week after.
El Blanco's going to be here.
Yes.
Sweet.
I like to call him the Yeast Master. You guys remember the movie The Beast Master?
I remember. Yeah. That was a great movie, that little
Conan guy.
What's that little?
Oh, it wasn't Conan. It was the guy who was like him. That little weasel.
The pet.
The ferret.
The ferret,
The ferret. Little ferret guy in there,
saved
too.
the day, too.
Can we get a ferret puppet in here, Crazy Jack? You got one of those things? I love ferrets. I don't know why. I'm a weird dude like that.
Are.
So we're going to take the Drunk of the Week right now. 888-401-BEER. Drunk of the Week is going to be our final qualifier for the Northern Brewer kegging system. We might take a couple of calls, and we'll go ahead and we'll pass judgment on who is our official Drunk of the Week. Vinny will help us out with that. I'm sure he's seen a few drunks in his day. Excluding himself.
I think we were going to also finish off how do you store your own hops.
Yes, and then we also want to talk about wet hopping a beer. Can I do a quick announcement first? It's a Russian River announcement. Russian River, officially today, I believe it was released. Is that right, or yesterday?
Today or tomorrow.
Today or tomorrow. Okay, well maybe it's an exclusive. That'd be sweet if it's not released till tomorrow. Let's just pretend that's the deal. Brewery of the Year. Russian River has been voted Brewery of the Year. Who made this vote for you guys?
That's Malt Advocate.
The Malt
Is
Advocate.
a fantastic, more it's whiskey, distilled spirits magazine, but it's a great publication, very well written, and they do cover beer.
Okay.
And that was something that they honored us with this year. I just got the email the other day, and
you did.
This issue goes out tomorrow.
Okay.
Congrats.
Let me read what they had to say. Beer without boundaries. I'm not sure if Russian River Brewing Company has a motto, but this one would certainly work. One glance through their beer portfolio and you'll understand why. Supplication, a brown ale aged for 12 months in Pinot Noir barrels, produced with sour cherries and wild bacteria and yeast. Beatification? How do you say it?
Beatification. That's what we tasted earlier.
Okay. A blonde ale aged in New Belgium Brewing Company's La Folie barrels for 22 months. Pliny the Elder, of course, a high-alcohol, high-gravity super hop double IPA. Their list of beers seems endless, restricted only by how many hours a day brewing craftsman Vinnie Cilurzo is willing to brew, not willing to sleep.
That was the best line of that whole thing.
It's not
the
bad.
sleep portion.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Because I'll be honest with you,
it's good writing.
it was almost like sleeping all day today, and I was thinking about blowing you guys off.
Yeah. You know, I'm actually...
I rarely sleep in past like 7.
Okay.
And, I think I was still in bed this morning at like 10 or 11.
Attaboy.
And I was like, oh, I could do this all day.
Yeah. Watch a movie instead.
Watch a movie and,
I hear ya.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, actually.
Thank you,
I'll tell you what, Vinny, if you had called me and done that, I would have cursed you. Then I would have called you back and said, man, I don't blame you. I'd have done the same. You know, it's when you work days and days, you got to do that. I'm actually surprised. I'll tell you this. I really am surprised that more brewers don't blow us off in the end. I think that, you know, you hear about it in the beginning and you say, yeah, that's a great idea. And then schedules get crazy. And for some reason, people always show up. I'm really surprised that we've not had a day of cancellation, you know? Despite your profession and what you guys actually do, you're not the slackers that one would think. You know what I'm saying?
They're the
That's
laborers,
true.
man.
You really are not.
Yeah, no.
You know, especially because
the brewers are a great community of people.
They are.
They're great, you know, especially here in the Bay Area. What you have to pull from, you have an amazing group of people, you know, people like Roger from Drake's and Sean and, you know, have you had Magnolia in?
February.
Dave McLean and, you know, Melissa, who's the, you know, the backbone of Drake's, I'm going to say, with Roger, works right along with
him
Roger
in check
there. And, yeah, there's just a ton of people to pull from, you know, and get up to our way and in between in Marin County with Moylan's and Marin Brewing and
we had Marin in.
Moylan's has a great Scotch ale.
So yeah, they do. And there's just so much good beer here in the area. And
888-401-BEER is the number, and we're looking for the drunk of the week to qualify you for the kegging system. And at this point, you don't have to be all that drunk because the phone's not ringing, is it, Daniela? What's with all these rings coming through, and then you just hang up? You just hang up on people.
So?
Okay.
Wow.
You just don't like them when they call in?
No. No, I don't know. It's a phone today.
We're having phone troubles.
We have experienced some phone troubles here.
Okay. Now, 888-401-BEER. Drunk of the week is
Are
going to
you
be
taking
our
their phone number?
last qualifier to win.
Make up for that comment earlier about the fluffer?
Yeah, that's right. She's just hanging up on everybody just to get back at me.
Somebody made us up for that comment. I mean, they called you douchebag and idiot and all that anyways, and they're going to send you a bunch of hate mail, and they hate you. They really sincerely hate you for that.
Okay.
Go
on.
Anyways.
I was going to say, that sounds too sexy. When you're saying that.
And all you're doing is making me hot.
They say the reason why all those people always show up is not you. It's because of me. They want to see me and deal with me, and unfortunately, you're sort of around too. But nobody likes you anymore. They hate you.
All of that is true.
I don't know about the like comment, but yeah, you're way better looking.
Okay, listen, this is the Vinnie Puppet, and I'm getting a little sick of you guys picking on Justin all the time. The thing is, Danielle is nothing but I'm not even going to start. I'm not even going to go into it, because that could get ugly.
Yeah.
For Justin later on.
Thank you, Vinnie Puppet. Appreciate that. Of course, I got the old question, could you give us an all-grain recipe for Pliny?
Was that on the website? How did we
keep that on?
It's
your
so available.
It is available, and that's we're not going to read it off. I think
it's been in.
You'll get an
brew
email.
Your own
sure.
Zymergy. You can email me info@RussianRiverBrewing.com.
There's also a clone version available at More Beer.
More Beer has it.
A correction, they want Pliny the Younger.
The Younger.
Ooh.
There is no clone recipe for that. I tell you why, at least why I haven't done it. A good portion of the hopping on the Elder and Younger, we use extract to bitter with.
Mm-hmm.
And the Elder recipe started out as being, an actual recipe using pellets and flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy at that point to work backwards. It's very hard now because we created the Younger recipe right from the beginning using extracts, hop extracts for the bittering and the middle edition.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to now convert that into pounds of pellets.
Okay.
So it's not that
you're being secretive.
It's just very hard to do, and I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
So the fact that we worked backwards on the Elder,
yeah,
we went from actually a recipe using pellets to extract, and we use extract just for efficiency because you figure that every pound of hops you add in, you have all this loss of wort absorption into the into the hop pellets. With extract, you're just adding the liquid form, and it's like. The alpha acid comes in at you would put it like 250, like alpha acid. You know, whereas
that's during bottling.
No, this is in the brew, in the kettle.
Really?
But if you figure that your highest alpha acid hop, Warrior or Columbus or something is like 15, 16 right now, you can get some of these super alphas at like 18%. The concentration of the extract. I think I worked it out once that a pound of extract replaces like 10 pounds of hops.
Oh, is that
so,
right?
I mean, in a rough sense, I guess I could figure out the homebrew, but I don't have any confidence that I would come up with a proper recipe.
I might challenge you to maybe come up with that first when you come back in, was it August?
Yeah, August we're talking about, yeah.
Maybe you might find a minute in your 28-hour day to
work out a younger clone.
Yeah, how do you do? Yeah, I understand the difficulty. That's a tough... Maybe we could talk about how to get good hop extract, too, though, you know?
Yeah.
You know, a little hop tea and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Caller, you're on the air. Who are we talking to?
This is Humboldt Hops.
Yeah, there's the name we're looking for tonight.
Humboldt Hops, exactly.
Actually, it's homegrown hops on the website, but
fits right in there.
It's all good.
Are you calling to be the drunk of the week?
I am drunk of the week.
Are you stoned too?
I don't think I'll qualify for the kegging system, but I'm definitely drunk.
Have you also had a J or two tonight?
No.
No.
I don't partake in that.
You don't? You're just naturally mellow?
Always.
I'm wondering if you might want to work for like a gay phone sex line or something. You got that like slow and low, like, hey, what's happening? I don't know if that works, but I'm just thinking.
Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, right. That I never called one, and that's what you sound like or anything. Hypothetically speaking.
Guilty.
You already have a kegging system at home?
Yeah, I have a full kegerator here. I have a 4-tap system.
Nice.
Is this
I just
guy?
kept calling the number wanting to get on.
Just want to get on? Yeah. What's your real name? You want to give us your real name?
What's my real name?
Yeah.
My name's John.
It's John. Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
It's not Guy. It's not, because Guy's a quiet guy, and I thought it might
And
be
I'm definitely not gay.
Definitely not gay.
But I definitely like homebrew and brewing.
All right.
Definitely.
Good deal.
You don't sound all that drunk.
No, yeah, well.
What have you been drinking all night?
Well, I had Chimay earlier with the tasting, and I've had my IPA.
Okay.
I'm just chilling here.
Was your Chimay like really malty and cardboardy like ours, or was it good?
I didn't get any cardboard, but I definitely had the malt there. There was definitely a lot of malt, and there was a good bit of yeast at the bottom, too.
Okay.
I'm going to save that for my culture, but...
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll make you our drunk of the week if we don't get another caller, but I can't register you for the keg system.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I do appreciate the caller. We needed a drunk of the week.
And good for honesty, saying you got your kegerator.
See? Now, this is a man who's following this homebrew code that we're pushing over here. He already knows that you got to follow the rules. He calls up, he says, hey, I don't need it.
And you said yours was a 4-tap system?
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, he's got it going.
Yeah.
What do you got, like a full refrigerator that you converted?
Or is it a chest freezer?
Chest freezer with a collar and 4 taps, yeah.
You got you have a tower on it, too?
No tower.
You just open it and pour them from there?
Yeah. No, they come out the front.
Oh, the front.
I have it on the website on my avatar, actually.
Oh, okay.
Picture.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need the chest freezer.
I do have a question for the Stump the Brewer later.
Oh, you do? You can do it now. Do it. We got you. Go for it.
Oh, I can do it now?
Yeah, why not?
Well, the question is, what is the proper term used to describe the separation of sexes in the hops plant?
Oh, yeah. We're talking plant porn now. I like that.
That's hot.
Was that coherent?
Yeah, you're totally coherent.
That's a good question.
Man.
That's a great question.
An interesting question, really.
It is, and I will not even beat around the bush and say I do not know.
Oh, good stump, man. That's really a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Mostly because I like vegetation porn. I'm going to open a new website called veggieporn.com. John, do you know the answer to this?
Well, the female vines produce all the bittering hops.
Right.
The male vines do not.
All right, well, that's the same with marijuana, too.
Yeah, that's what it is. But you said, was there a term for it?
Yeah, the term. What are the terms? Do you know them?
Well, they have a male plant and a female plant, which is dioecious, which means 2 houses.
Oh,
that's the Latin term. Monoecious would be having male and female flowers on the same plant.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad we're past the Stump to Brewer part, because I was,
Audacious
sweating that
and
coming
outrageous.
down here and worried about it.
Yeah, you got stumped.
Yeah, I'm glad that's over and done with.
What are we going to give for that, John?
T-shirt.
You want a BN shirt? I don't have a Russian River shirt. You want a BN shirt?
Sure.
You realize what that means, right?
It's going to take 4 months.
I'll never get it.
No, they're coming. They're coming Tuesday.
That's sweet.
No, they really are. If you don't believe me, I'll give you the UPS tracking number. They're coming Tuesday. They will get here. I'll say Wednesday at the latest in case UPS jacks it up. But they're coming, man. I'll send you one this week. You got my. I will institute the homebrewers code myself, and you have my word. I will send you a BN shirt.
That's some Humboldt State University education paying off right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
It does not. I can't believe you don't smoke weed, dude.
Way laid back. Just like,
yeah, you are the most laid back non-stoner on the planet.
Yeah.
You a Grateful Dead fan?
I've had about 8 pints. Let's talk about that.
You could be the drunk of the week.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And how much Vicodin have you had?
Oh, I don't do Vicodin either. That's bad for you.
How about Flexerol?
Yeah.
No pills. Just malt.
All right.
All
Good
malt.
deal.
That's
All
good.
malt.
This is my interpretation of our caller here.
I have a question about Drunker of the Week.
Hey guys,
where's Doc?
I just
Doc left.
Dog is under the desk.
Nice.
I'm just effing with you, man.
He was way too drunk. The beer schnapps.
Yeah, Doc left. Did you guys? I don't know if you at home noticed, but
He just left the house.
he was pretty quiet the whole time he was here too. And then he's like, "Yeah, I gotta go. I got the kids this week. I gotta go watch the kids."
You know why it was quiet? He had the kids all weekend long by himself.
He did.
His wife was gone for the weekend.
So he had a babysitter at home so he can come to the show.
For the hours of the show, he did. Yeah, but the babysitter needs to leave around 8. So
He just was so quiet, like he had been like whipped into shape or something. He just it's like a life of servitude he's gone through this week. He comes in here all beaten down. Hope he's listening.
It all makes sense right now. I'll tell you that much.
All right, Humboldt. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
I'll send you a shirt.
All right.
You got to
Great.
give Daniela your information. Send it to her.
I will. Yep.
All right, buddy.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Goodness sake. Guy got me high.
I
mellow.
feel so relaxed right now.
It's so mellow.
I like that. That's cool.
Good. That's good.
That would be, man, I'll tell you guys right now, I was such a pothead when I was in college.
We used to smoke, you and I.
Like
we were in band together.
I sounded like that guy, like during class. That's what kind of a pothead I was. I haven't smoked in 6 or 7 years. It's been a while, but I fried some brain cells. I definitely sounded like that guy.
You recovered well.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Do we actually have a drunk of the week on the phone there to win?
he wants to be the drunk of the week.
Let's see if he qualifies. All right, caller, you're on the air.
What's up, Justin? This is Smoking.
Who smoking?
Smoking from the chat room.
Hey, buddy, what's happening? This guy's chat room name is actually Smoking.
Did you smoke a J tonight?
Yeah.
What's that?
Did you smoke a J tonight?
I cannot say.
That means
Confirm or
yes.
deny that.
That's a good yes. All
That's
right,
an affirmative.
That's
10
fair
for-
enough.
Good buddy.
Are you drunk as well?
Fairly.
Okay. Do you have a kegging system at home?
I do not. I've actually been fairly desperate for one lately, but I'm working on converting my keg, so my money's going elsewhere.
Oh, okay. All right. You know where his money's going? That lighting system. that halogen lighting system he's got growing there.
Do you have a vaporizer?
It's funny you should mention that.
How about a Godzilla? That's the next step up in Sonoma County.
There's a step up from a vaporizer?
Yeah, then you go to the Godzilla.
What's the Godzilla?
The Godzilla's got an actual like motor on it to help
pump it in there.
Yeah.
Oh my god! it's the equivalent of like gravity flowing your wort through the chiller or pushing it through like you mean it.
Yep.
That's great.
We just installed this piece of equipment on our CO2 system. It's called a vaporizer, and basically it just gives the CO2 more places to flow to get more contact with ambient temperature to warm it up.
Yeah,
so that it flows faster. It used to take us like 2 hours to purge a tank with CO2.
Yeah.
We would purge it. After we were done sanitizing the tank, we'd purge it once, blow it down, blow the CO2 out, purge it again, blow it down, and then you put a third charge in, and then you push the beer in.
Okay.
So this would take us like 2 hours, sometimes longer if it was in the winter and everything was freezing up. So we put in this thing called the vaporizer, and James, my salesman, driver, and maintenance guy, we always joke now, is like, oh, and this thing is, when we outgrow this, we need to get the Godzilla.
Right.
So.
I never see the vaporizer wasn't a big thing when I was doing that sort of stuff, and I never got to experience it.
But it's very big in Sonoma County now.
I'm sure it is.
Yep.
I've done that like twice, a few times.
You did the vaporizer?
Yeah.
Super
smooth.
heat.
Yeah. Let's just say that Vinny's brewery isn't in the hop capital of the world. Okay, it's in one of the other capitals of the world. All right, Smokin'. I don't know. Say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. How's that?
He's pretty sober, man. But
man.
But since nobody else has called in, you want to wait for another drunk of the week, Daniela? All right, I'll tell you what, Smokin'. We're gonna keep you. I'm gonna drop the line, but you're still in the running for the drunk of the week. Possible to qualify.
How about this? I've already had a growler full of IPA from the local brewery, and I've had a Stone Ruination and a Moylan's Double IPA.
Which brewery was the growler from?
Yeah.
The growler from Schooner's Brewery in Antioch. I'm a local.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
One more caller, and if he's not more drunk, then...
Yeah, what time period are we talking? You started at 11 a.m., you did all that?
I started about 2-ish. I was here for the morning show, but I wasn't drinking yet.
Okay.
He shops at More Beer. I know this guy.
You know this guy.
Yeah, he deserves it.
I shop there all the time.
He deserves it. Get him in the running, Jay. Come on, man.
He's in there. Well,
come on, man.
Jay.
I'll take a studio vote. There's a lot of people in the studio. John's giving him the thumbs up.
Vinnie Puppet is thumbs up.
Vinnie Puppet's definitely. He's the.
Hey, I think this guy's cool. And
okay, let me. I'm going to ask this.
All right.
We need a definitive answer on the J question earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
Is that
enough.
a yes or no?
Well, no, Jays. How about a bong?
Oh yeah, that counts.
All right, now Vinny's hand just went up. Vinnie Puppet's hand is up.
I don't know. There's a couple of guys in the chat room who say they've had so much to drink that they're much more drunk. I don't know.
They had their chance to
They're
call
trying,
in
but it's always busy.
All right, I'm gonna suspend judgment. I'm gonna hang on Smokin'.
All right, well, I'll be here.
All right, hang in there. I might have you call back.
For sure, let me know.
Why don't you pound another one real quick?
All right, I'll do that.
All right, hang in there, buddy.
All right, good luck.
Thanks for the call. All right, 888-401-BEER. I guess the jury's still out on the drunk of the week. Daniela's she's got the heartbeat of the listeners in there in the chat room. So
he was pretty good already. So if the next caller is not any better, entirely drunk, then he's gonna.
Then Smokin' gets it. The phone's ringing now, so it could happen. You never know. I had another announcement here. Dogger, one of our listeners, and he posts in the forum and he hangs out with us too. Let me take this call. I'll give it after that. How about that? Okay. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Buzzcut.
Hey, Buzz.
Dude, I'm drinking, I had 4 MGD 24s. Drinking
disqualified.
Schoner Apple Schnapps.
Wait a second. You actually had 4 24-ounce MGDs?
Yeah, I would have more, but I ran out. So that's why I'm drinking the Schnorr Apple Schnapps.
Where are you from again, Buzzcut?
Reno.
From Reno.
Disqualified.
I don't know. I like the fact that he's so willing to announce that the only reason he stopped drinking the MGD 24-ounces is that he ran out.
Now, if it was Olympia,
yeah,
PBR.
The other night I had a Ham's draft. And that was left over from Burning Man.
You went out.
That's sad.
You went out and bought the MGD 24s on purpose?
No, the wife bought them.
Oh.
Hey, dude, 10 for 10, you can't go wrong.
No, I guess you can. 10 24s for $10, huh?
You got her.
Is your wife there?
She's upstairs.
Get her on the phone.
All right, hang on.
We'll find out if he's drunk or not. If anyone knows if their guy's drunk, it's the wife, right? We'll find out. Let's see. Come on, I'm right? You got to ask the lady because the guys, hey, they don't, they play it off. I'm not that drunk. I do it all the time, right?
What?
Oh, sorry. There you go, Daniel.
Hello?
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You're talking to the Brewcasters here.
Hi, Brewcasters.
Who are we talking to? What's your name?
This is Danielle.
Danielle, how about that? We've got our own Daniela right here in the studio with us too. I'm curious. I'm getting you on the phone here not just to bother you, but we're trying to figure out how drunk your husband is, and he's calling
You're trying to figure out how drunk my husband is?
Yeah. He's calling into the show because he could qualify to win a kegging system, but we're looking for the drunk of the week, and I don't know if I can take his word for it. He says he drank 4 24-ounce Miller Genuine Drafts that you bought for him.
That I bought for him.
Yeah.
Yes, I did, because they were on sale, They were 10 for 10.
Okay. And I think that's a good buy. That's a big value there. And are you seeing 4 empty bottles right there?
Well, they're in very large cans, but yes, there are definitely 4 empties here.
Okay.
I think the true determinant here is that the dog has received his lecture, which generally means that Dan is at least a 6-pack in.
Okay. What does the dog get lectured about?
Whatever is on whatever's on his mind at the time.
Okay. What was it?
It could be anything from video games to football to fantasy football to
Man, I want a recording of that.
Troubles at work.
Okay. And what did the dog receive it about tonight? Do you know?
Well, I didn't because I'm on a different floor, so I heard them talking, and the dog actually talks back, but
yeah.
Come on, that's a drunk couple of the week.
Does the dog actually bark back?
Yeah.
Yes. The dog does,
he wins.
If the dog doesn't acknowledge him, the lecture is longer.
Oh, no. The dog, it's learned its lesson. The dog's like, I better bark or this is never going to
He has
end.
to acknowledge. Otherwise, it continues in perpetuity.
Yeah. I'm curious about this, you're on different floors deal. So basically what happens is you come home with the beer, you give it to your husband, and then you disappear to a different wing of the house for the night?
With the other 6 bottles.
He has his little basement lair.
Okay.
Complete with brewing system and, portable refrigerator and multiple computers.
Right. I like that. This guy's good.
And so it's always safer, and it's like stumbling distance into the bedroom.
That's awesome. He's dedicated.
So even if he gets drunk and falls down, it won't really matter because he's right there.
Right.
Come on.
What's your prediction? Is he going to keep? Yeah, I hear the dog now. He must be getting another lecture.
Yeah.
What's your prediction? Is he going to keep drinking tonight, or are you guys dry?
Pardon?
Is he going to keep drinking tonight, your husband, or what do you think?
Yeah, he probably will. It's a weekend, and it's a 3-day weekend, so he doesn't have to go anywhere tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Martin Luther the King Day, if you guys didn't know.
Yes, it is.
Where are you guys located?
We're in Reno.
In Reno. And I've asked that a couple of times. Same thing happens to me when I'm in Reno. I forget where I'm at.
That's easy to do.
It's all the free booze and gambling. It's a tough one because Buzzcut called in earlier trying to qualify for the other one. But now he's drunker than the other guy, I'm thinking. And I did ask for the drunk of the week. We might have to take a new studio vote. You can't bias your vote because you know the guy and he shops at More Beer. You got to take you got to look from the outside in. Danielle here is telling us that her husband's pretty cooked. You know what I'm saying?
Reno is more cooked than
the guy lectured his dog.
Antioch.
And the dog
talks back. That's awesome.
Reno.
Well, studio vote.
Reno.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
It's
take
easy.
it. Okay. You can put your husband back on, Danielle. We appreciate you talking to us.
Okay, thanks. You guys have a great night.
Hey, we will. You too. And really, thanks very much.
You bet.
Okay.
I think she helped him get the vote.
Yeah.
She did. She did. The
dog
wives
part.
usually do. It's the dog thing that's
That was entertaining.
That's happening now. Buzzcut, you there, buddy? He's not there yet. She might have hung up.
Or hung him.
Oh, yeah.
He hung up.
Yeah. I do.
I vote for Reno, and I mean, that story alone was great.
I like, who said it was Danielle, is that you that said they're the drunk couple of the week?
Yeah, come on. They're on separate floors, drinking by themselves. He stumbles into bed, he talks to his dog, the dog talks back. What else do you need? She buys 10 for 10. Come on.
That's true love.
10 MGDs for $10. I love that, man. I really do. I am not making fun at all. I really like
and
that.
they're 24 ounces, I think he said. These aren't pints.
If you look up on our ledge, I think we've got some 24-ounce cans among our liquor bottles up there, so.
I want my
What the?
Here, put them on. Just put them
Give
on.
it to me!
Who are we talking to? You're on the air.
It's Christian!
Oh my God.
I want my brewing system!
Which Christian are we talking to?
From Crestline, dude.
Like I know.
How many Christians are there?
A lot. There's a few.
There's actually a lot.
What's your
religion?
I want to hear the dog.
This guy's getting up there on the drunk of the week
No,
already.
I want to hear the dog. I don't care about the brewing system if I can hear the dog.
What dog? I don't have the dog here.
No, lecturing the dog. I want to hear the dog.
Are you? Oh, did you?
He hung up on himself. Or did you?
Wait a minute. We have a revote.
Hung up on himself.
We have a revote here.
Yeah. I drunk of the week. If he calls back, he might get it right there.
He said he didn't
He's the
care
guy
about
who was
it,
in the
though.
chat room all the time, just yelling in the chat room. Even
He's
you can
angry.
tell, I'm the drunk of the week, and he's just probably too drunk to type quickly on the phone. So he's getting there too. But I just like the Reno story quite a bit.
All right.
That was an awesome story.
Let's take a vote. We're gonna, he hung up. He excluded himself. I don't know what to do
Whoops.
there. He was on a roll though. I'm telling you, he was climbing up in the ranks fast. All right.
No shit. Don't answer that. Don't answer it. Don't answer it. Oh my God.
Phone's still ringing. All right.
This is entertaining.
Go ahead.
Oh shit.
Hello?
Hey, you're there. Caller?
Why did you guys hang up on me?
We didn't. You hung up on us, man.
No, I did not.
I didn't touch any buttons. I got you right here.
I got it on speakerphone. I didn't touch anything, dude.
All right. We got you. Hello?
Yeah?
Okay. You're still there.
Yeah, wait, let me get on. Wait.
Hello? Hello? Is that better?
Hello? Are you there?
Yeah, are you there?
Hello?
Hello?
Caller?
Yes!
Are you there?
Are you there?
Oh, you're messing with me.
Yeah, I'm just sticking.
Yeah, we are.
There's no way.
What have you been drinking tonight, Christian?
Well, I had this Saison du Pont.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Saison.
Yeah.
And then homebrew.
And then your homebrew? Which homebrew? What'd you make?
It was it was like a bitter, but I think it was like what you said with Vinnie's. It was kind of like I put on a bunch of hops.
Okay.
So it tasted a little
That plastic rubbery thing?
yeah, I thought it was cardboardy. I thought maybe it was astringent, but I think that's what it was.
Okay. Could have been. How much hops we talking?
I put a couple ounces of Magnum and then some Cascade and I don't know.
5 gallons?
Yeah.
Just a couple ounces of Magnum right off the bat.
No, it was 10 gallons, but it was
10,
like
okay.
it's pretty light. It was like only 30 points. It's the lightest beer I ever brewed.
Nice.
Wow.
I like this guy.
Yeah, so it's all hops.
Okay.
As it should be.
Yeah.
And
seriously, if you can put on the dog, I totally retract my name. I want to hear that dog.
So do I. I wish we should have gotten Buzzcut's number so we can call him back and get that dog on the line. We heard him in the back.
Oh.
I don't know what the dog says. I have a feeling that the dog sounds a lot like Doc. Wait, hang on. I got the dog on the line right here.
Are you serious?
Yeah, here. Hang on. Dog, are you there?
Yes.
Bring it in.
There he is.
Messed up, dude. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Dr. Scott, are you there, really?
No, he's not here.
Oh, I thought he left.
Yeah, he left.
What's up?
All right, I'm going to hang up on you and we're going to take a vote between the three of you.
All right.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Bye.
Yep. All right, so you got 3 there. You got caller number 1, which was help me out here.
Local guy
from Antioch. Smoking.
Yeah.
Caller number 1 was Smoking.
Good
Caller
name.
number 2 was Buzzcut, who talked to his dog. Smoking, on the other hand, he drank a growler and a bunch of other stuff too.
His composure was impressive.
He had a lot of composure.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't lecture any dogs.
Or wives.
And then Christian there, and I don't know is that his username too? Is Daniela? Christian?
Yeah, it's Christian.
Okay, so Christian, claims to have drank a lot. He certainly was yelling there in the beginning. And then he regained his composure.
Which is usually a clear indication of being really hammered.
Yeah.
At least for you.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a studio vote. You're going to hold up a number 1, a number 2, or a number 3. Just for you folks at home, we have 7 people in the studio taking a vote. So it's quite a bit of votes to give a fair vote. So number 1, Smokin'. Number 2, Buzzcut. Or number 3, Christian. Go ahead and hold up a 1, 2, or a 3.
Why do you make it so complicated?
Unanimously.
Unanimous.
It's a number 2. That's Buzzcut, folks. Buzzcut, the guy I talked to his dog, is now the winner. What's up, Daniela?
Nothing.
I mean, John.
Well, you just called me Daniela.
Yeah, I'm looking right at you. What's
I
up,
vote
Daniela?
for you, number 4.
Yeah, I'm the drunk of the week.
Yeah.
All right.
Drop us an email.
Yeah, send it to Buzzcut. Go ahead and send it to Daniela and John both. Daniela at thebrewingnetwork.com. John P. at the same place. And you're our third qualifier for the kegging system, courtesy of Northern Brewer at northernbrewer.com. All right. Let's do real quick the wet hop. Can we do it? Can we do a quick version?
Yeah,
How do we wet hop a beer, Vinny?
And then, and John wanted to know about storing hops, which is a good question. If you're going to dry your hops, and you can actually store your wet hops in a freezer. I tested this out. You can pick your wet hops. Let's say, for example, you want to enter a wet hop beer into the Nationals, homebrew competition, which is in April.
Yeah, 4 months.
So, but harvest is August, September. I've actually put wet hops on their vine still or picked in a bag and frozen them, and they come out still moist.
Really?
You can pull them out. Yeah, you can freeze wet hops.
No frostbite, nothing?
No frostbite or nothing.
Really?
In fact, we did a mini Lukeland slam at the GABF 2 years ago, and where Sam Calagione from Dogfish had busted out his Randalls, the hopping device that...
Pliny's bitch, Fred.
Yeah, basically, exactly. Yeah, if you hopped your beers enough, Sam, you wouldn't need that piece of shit yuppie hopping device to begin with. So he had the hop company supply all these hops, and instead of picking the hops, like Cascade or Centennial that have been dried, I shipped my own wet hops in, and I had the crowd that was there pick the hops, help me pluck the hops off the vine, and when we packed the Randall with my wet hops.
Awesome.
So it actually does work. You can freeze them, but yeah, if you're going to be storing hops, whether they're dried or wet, you want to do it frozen.
Okay.
And
day of, freeze them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll work just fine. So, and then keep in mind the website we talked about earlier, freshhops.com. That's freshhops with 1h.com.
Yeah.
So
check that out.
As for making a wet hop beer, you're talking about a grain bill that's pretty similar to a IPA, maybe 2-row, a little bit of Crystal 40 and some Carapils malt. Original gravity of, say, a 1064, finish at a 1012. IBU somewhere in the 55 to 70 range, depending on how hoppy you want it. Now, keep in mind that a program like Mash Hop is not going to, or Pro Mash, sorry, Mash Hop.
Yeah,
something
works.
different.
You can invent that if you want.
Yeah, Pro Mash isn't going to really work because your alpha acid is going to be like 0.5% with freshly picked hops with all the moisture. So here's a recipe that would give you a 6.75% alcohol beer ABV. 90-minute boil. Add the 90-minute addition. Throw in 3 ounces of wet undried Chinooks. At the same time, 14 ounces of, and that's for a 10-gallon batch. So you'd maybe go to your kettle with like 12 or 13 gallons.
Okay.
So 3 ounces, and everything I'm going to talk about is wet undried hops. 90-minute addition, 3 ounces Chinook, 14 ounces Cascade. It's almost a pound right there.
Wow.
That's over a pound, yeah.
And then over a pound, yeah. And then at a 30-minute addition, 10 ounces of Cascade. And then at your 0-minute end of the boil addition, you'll look at 11 ounces of Cascade, 5 ounces Chinook. And then you'll dry hop with 2 ounces each wet of Chinook and Cascade. That's 47 ounces, so 3 pounds of hops right there for a 10-gallon batch. 10 gallons net, so in your kettle maybe 12 gallons or so.
And you were talking about how wet hops are actually 6 times as much as a pellet, or
yeah. So basically, the way it goes is that when you're picking hops fresh off the vine, they have 85% moisture content in the hop vine, whereas when they're dried, they're kiln dried, they're all the way down to about 10%.
Yeah.
So all that moisture is dried away. So when you're going to make a wet hop beer, you have to add 4, 5, 6 times the amount of hops as normal to make this beer, because you have to make up for all that moisture content that's in there. If you were to use conventional hopping additions for a wet hop beer, you'd get a beer with no bitterness,
right?
Because there's no because the moisture has watered down the alpha acid so much. So you concentrate, you add 5, 6 times the amount of hops as you would normally, and that will now put you back to about the same bitterness unit as a regular IPA, 50, 60, at least regular West Coast. I don't know how many East Coasters are listening, but I'm getting a couple Lupulin Slam jabs in right now.
Yeah, attaboy.
But what you're really getting with these wet hop additions is the flavor of wet hops are totally different than dried hops.
In what way?
In that a wet hop has much more of a melon, lemon zest, mint is another flavor you'll get out of wet hops.
Okay.
A lot more, whereas the dried, say, Cascade is going to be more floral and citrusy, and you don't get quite that flavor, and things are much more pungent and more forward with wet hops.
Okay.
It's much like cooking with fresh basil or dried basil.
Okay.
It's
huge
great.
difference.
It's great either way.
Yeah.
But they're totally different.
Yeah.
And that's the best analogy for someone who cooks.
Okay.
And so hops, when they're hanging on the vine, are totally different than hops when they've been kiln dried.
Right.
So, and you do the wet hop additions, and you end up with a beer that is equivalent to like a Beaujolais Nouveau wine from France, which is a wine that's picked fresh. The grapes are picked, fermented in the bottle, and released within like 2 months of being harvested.
Right.
So that's kind of the analogy of what we're doing here.
Okay.
It's not a beer that ages particularly well. The hops aren't all that stable. It's a beer that needs to be consumed rather quickly.
Okay.
So, and what I'd like to do is come back in July or early August.
All right.
And then do the actual, because really we've talked today about growing wet hops.
Yeah.
We've talked about how to get them in the ground. We've talked about the simplicity of you can use the Miracle Grow and water,
right,
and you'll get something.
Sure. Right.
The one thing that we really didn't cover is be sure that you plant a few more vines if you have the space, just in case.
Right.
'Cause if you don't have enough hops, you're screwed.
Yeah.
It's not like you can run down to the homebrew shop and buy wet hops.
John, you can vouch for that, right? Plant an extra. Didn't you have one that didn't do a thing for you?
I would encourage people to plant 3 to 4 different varietals.
Yeah.
And 2 rhizomes each.
Of each one.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when you're planting them, multiple varieties, you need to space them a little bit more. If you can, because like we talked about earlier, the hop, rhizomes grow horizontally, not vertically like a grapevine does.
Yeah.
So.
And if hypothetically I were to have planted a couple of different kinds of hops and then say didn't label which ones the hops were,
whoops,
I would be hypothetically screwed, right?
I would pick them all and mix them together and use them. It'd be like the French Rhone wine, Chateauneuf du Pape.
Yeah.
We did a beer last year at the Lupulin Slam where we blended the Russian River beer, the Pizza Port, and the OG's beer, and we called it Chateauneuf du Hop. That was the most popular beer at the Lupulin Slam.
Was it really?
Last year. Yeah, it was.
Wow.
But what I'd like to do is come back and talk more about the harvesting of the hops.
Okay.
And the brewing of the beer.
Okay.
This is a beer that homebrewers can just run with.
Okay.
I've even said before that you could have a homebrew club that if they're organized enough, each brewer could be planting different varieties, and you could be doing single hop, wet hop beers.
Yeah.
And you could go as far as to do Pilsner wet hop beer, and it doesn't just have to be a pale ale or IPA.
Right.
It can easily be other types of beer.
Sure.
So what month are we talking then? We're going to go for April or May?
I think we would be talking about late July, early August.
But that's way after...
harvest would be mid-August.
Oh, you're right. You said plant April is May. Okay, all right. I gotcha. So we're going into summer.
Yeah, into summer.
We'll do that.
Before any harvest.
I'm thinking...
to talk more about brewing, because the other thing about home brewing these is there's a lot of techniques you need to use that aren't normal.
Yeah.
If you're a pellet brewer, you need to think about how you're going to get 5 pounds of hops out of your, or 4 pounds of hops out of your kettle.
Yeah.
And so all these things, and I don't necessarily have the answer for that, but
we can talk about it.
But we can talk about it. We can throw ideas around. People can call in with ideas, email in.
Yeah.
And get some ideas. And I can tell you what we do.
Yeah.
And what other brewers have done.
I'm seeing an organized brew
well,
already.
Everybody should grow their own hops.
Yeah.
That's the idea that I want to get. I think everyone should be growing hops as home brewers. There's a brewery in Longmont, Colorado called Left Hand Brewery, and they do what they call Warrior IPA every year, and it's a wet hop beer. And a good portion of the hops are wet hops that they buy from Hop Union or Yakima Chief.
Okay.
But they also have a call out to all the homebrewers in the community. And the whole homebrew community brings their crop in on a specific day.
Yeah.
Left Hand has all these people's emails. They email out, say, okay, on this day, September 1st or whatever, we're going to brew our wet hop beer.
Right.
And all the homebrewers bring their hops in. And it's kind of a field blend of all the local homebrewers that go into the beer as well.
All right.
Very cool idea that
that's a great idea.
Homebrew club could do that as well.
Easily.
If there wasn't enough hops to go around.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I'm thinking already we're going to organize a brew sort of to coincide with this, with Vinnie coming back and doing that discussion.
The National Homebrew Day is, I believe, November 4th.
Okay.
So that's Saturday, so maybe we could do a brew off with hops.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't be a wet hop.
Yeah, it'd be a little far off.
Oh, yeah, that's the day of.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing we should maybe think about is doing it, at least the discussion before anyone's harvesting.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So that it's done, so that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And because we don't want this to scare anyone off.
No.
It sounds like a lot of information that we talked about today.
Yeah.
But if you listen to this, the archive a couple times over, you read the notes at freshhops.com, and you think about a couple techniques you maybe need to change for wet hops. It's kind of fun to get MacGyver on your homebrew equipment and have to think about for us it's on a 600-gallon system. How are we going to get 200 pounds of hops out of a 600-gallon kettle,
right?
And still have a yield at the end.
It's a good point.
So, yeah.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. We'll plan. I'll tell you what. We might plan that with you and see what kind of an organized brew we can get going, and possibly we'll do a giveaway and whatnot, and organize the whole thing. I think that's a good idea. So we'll get you in before harvest time. Then.
Yeah.
I'm thinking 3 weeks to a month before harvest.
Yeah. And the other thing we could do is pull 5 pounds off of our hop yard. They may be a little underripe, but we could still walk through it.
Okay.
Even with the underripe hops to do the process.
All right.
So
let's look forward to that.
With them. What do you think about that?
With those hops that he pulls
you
off?
should brew with them, and I should brew with them, and Doc.
Could do that. I just want the listeners doing it with their hops, too. I'm thinking a competition for them, but absolutely.
We could talk about it. I've never done it, so I'm curious.
Okay. All right, we'll do that. We'll plan that.
Okay.
Question here was what to do with unknown hops. I think I had answered that with my hypothetical question.
I would just use them. One of the
Chuck
things,
them in a beer.
One of the things it doesn't matter if you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
You can use them, no problem. There's an old time hop grower, his name's Alvin, that, he still has hops grown in his backyard. They're California cluster. And, they're the old variety that grew in California years back. And he talks about back when he was selling hops, and growing hops, they didn't talk about varieties. It was just, these are the hops the local breweries buy, and that's it.
Okay.
It's only been recently that they figured out that they were California cluster. So Alvin we just sold hops. He goes, what do you mean varieties?
Yeah.
Hops are hops.
So,
put it in your beer, man. It's a hop.
Yeah, buy my hops, make beer.
All right, let me fire some questions at you, and then we're out of here.
All right.
Quickies. What hop would you recommend for a triple?
Styrian Golding.
Okay. Good one.
Maybe some Saws as well. Sterling if you want to go American hop.
Here, John, give this a read
all.
if you would while I read another question here. How do you prepare your hops to survive the winter?
The hop vines, we do a little bit of compost mulch over the top of the hill, and that's about it. The rain will leach in some of the nutrients out of the compost and mulch.
Okay.
Great job. That's a great thing to do. It's a good question, as I didn't talk about that.
Okay. Straight homebrew question, John. Get your ears on. I have a 5-gallon corny carbonated with a lot of hop material. Oh, I don't know why it would be carbonated, but anyway, it's got a bunch of carbonating. Sorry,
maybe dry
with a lot of hop material in there. That's made its way into the keg, clogging the dip tube. The beer is cold and conditioned. How should I remedy the situation?
Well, my guess is he didn't use a hop bag, so he threw them in just raw.
A bunch of junk in there. What's he going to do?
I would reverse your fittings and hook on your CO2 to your beverage out and flush CO2 out of your dip tube.
Yeah.
And then transfer it off of your keg to another keg, jumper line it.
From the dip tube, then you got to go back to the dip tube to transfer it.
Yeah, within like 10 minutes. So you're going to flush out all that hops that's built into your dip tube, back into solution, transfer it out.
And if that doesn't work, then he may have to open the top of his corny keg and do a siphon.
That too.
Because the tube will be bigger on your siphon.
Yeah. So last resort, go for your siphon. But that's a great quick remedy to clear your dip tube is just run the CO2, shoot it in there.
Yeah.
And also, if it's cloudy going into this new container, put a little gelatin in so that it settles it out and sticks on the bottom.
What kind of gelatin? What are we talking here?
Strawberry or raspberry. No, non-flavored. Like you can get Knox gelatin, or at the store you can go to the homebrew shop and they'll all be selling gelatin these days.
How much you put in?
Do you know the quantity, Jonathan? I think it's maybe a 2 tablespoons per 5 gallons would work.
It's a little bit.
And you mix it in 150 degree water, and you use a handheld blender if you have it to get it mixed in good. Pour it in the container that you're siphoning into.
Yeah.
It'll mix in when the beer's going in, let it sit for 2 days. You can't move your keg at that point.
Gotcha.
But you could then do a keg-to-keg transfer off the gelatin.
Okay.
And you'd have a clean keg of beer. Clean keg of beer.
It's just a good way to get everything to drop out.
Yeah, gelatin's great for that. Won't take any protein haze out.
You use that.
Yeah, we use a lot of gelatin. So.
And then just a quick, this is a question actually. I thought it was a comment. This person lays his hops on a flat window screen and puts them in the attic. California summer, he mentions. Is that a good idea?
Yes.
Yeah, that's just like the sun drying that I talked about.
Same
Great
thing.
idea.
Good heat up there. And how long would you leave it up there for?
Oh, it would probably only take a couple days. Maybe even a day if it was super hot, with heat rising. So.
Okay.
With the hairdryer going on.
All right, last thing, a quick heads up here. I got a notice from somebody today. It's time to start thinking about I don't know how to pronounce it, Pycetus Intercontinental Pub Crawl. I don't know if you've heard about this, but last year, an Australian group called Pycetus organizes a pub crawl that spans the globe. Last year they had 18 countries, 47 cities, and 106 venues take place. Currently, the target date will be for May-June. Suggestions are still coming in, and a decision should be made soon as to when. To participate in the event, get a few folks together, pick a few pubs, let myself or Pycetus know of your plans, and on the big day when you go, drink a few beers, one at each. Involve some T-shirts and giving away some things and organizing with the rest of the people. You can email PYSSEDAS, Pycetus at yahoo.com. The website is www.geosites.com/Pycetus, Pysedas. He said it's really a great event. This is from Dogger Dan, and just kind of a way to, kind of like what we do, get the whole world involved in one event at a time. I know Guinness does like a worldwide tasting once a year, like the Great Guinness Toast.
Yeah.
Where like every pub is supposed to, tap a Guinness and have a toast, and same kind of thing, do a little pub crawl.
Brewers Association that oversees the AHA, GABF, Craft Brewers Conference, they're talking about doing something like this. Okay. I've been in the middle of a bunch of emails. There's no final answer.
Right.
On what it's going to be. A toast was one thing. Maybe it was just a gathering at breweries so that any home brewers, that are members of the AHA will see something come through their email or beertown.org about this.
Gotcha.
So it will happen on a U.S. basis.
Okay. So. All right. Next week, the yeast master, Chris White from White Labs coming in. He's in the studio, right?
No.
It's a phone call?
Phone call.
Oh, I guess we got to fix the phone.
Yes, we do.
I don't know why I thought he was in the
Wait,
studio.
why is he not coming up? His brother lives like 10 minutes from here.
Oh, we'll have to call
Can
him.
you call him for us?
Yeah.
Please.
Well, he could send his brother because they're twins.
Oh, is that right? We wouldn't know the difference.
You wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, okay.
You could have Mike here.
Yeah.
Talking.
Right.
Being the puppet, but you could have Chris on the phone. And you guys have the information.
We have the Mikey puppet next week. Jack's all tired out.
Yeah, he
Doesn't know what to do. Jack, thanks for bringing in the Vinnie puppet.
You welcome.
We appreciate it.
Thanks, Brad, for the beer.
Yeah, Brad, thanks for hanging out.
That was great.
Vinnie Cilurzo from Russian River Brewing Company hung out with us today. Second time on the show. We'll be back to talk about harvesting and wet hop brewing.
Yeah.
And I think we're looking at June-ish. It's our anniversary in June,
1 whole year.
Yeah. It's a ways away.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah. All right, Chris White from White Labs. Thanks. That's next week. Thanks to Northern Brewer at northernbrewer.com. Kegging system, giving it away. We'll still be registering people next week and doing all the things we do. What's tomorrow, John?
The Jamil Show.
Thank you, sir. The Jamil Show. John Plissé, our special host with Jamil each week, and you guys talking about what tomorrow?
Russian Imperial Stout. Keep it in check, too.
It's going to be a good show. That's 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be here running the board. Probably won't have much to say unless I feel like making fun of John.
You can do that, obviously. I'll bring the latte.
That sounds good. 10 a.m. tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it or miss it. The Jamil Show, the first official Jamil Show. Daniela, would you like to say bye to your loyal fans?
Bye.
All right. We'll see you all next week.